Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. And I better turn on the record. We're actually ahead of ourselves this week. Hey, everybody. Good to be with you once again here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and other parts around the country. We go back a little bit to our normal programming because I have been gone the last couple of weeks. Just to tell everyone, I was in California for my first grandchild's graduation, high school graduation. Now, here's the weird day. I didn't even know this, okay? We think Holland Hall and you name the private school here is expensive. I just found out my granddaughter's school cost, I better turn my mic, oh, it's on, okay. My granddaughter's school where she graduated, $55,000 a year. Okay, I mean, $55,000 a year, unbelievable. The
Thank
speaker,
God for her grandparents.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Eddie
it's a good thing, boy.
Scholarship.
It's a good thing I've got the deep pockets to pay for that. Yeah, right. The keynote speaker for the graduation was Dennis Quaid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid's the speaker, and she's got. What really threw me off, probably a third, maybe it's a little much, but I'd say a quarter to a third of the students were Japanese.
Oh, yeah.
And they have dormitories at this school. Where the kids,
it's a boarding school.
It's a boarding school in addition to, now she lives like 3 miles from the school.
Yeah.
But they board all of these foreign students. And so these Japanese deep-pocketed parents send their kids all the way to Southern California. They live 10 minutes from the Reagan Library.
Would you do that, Eddie? Would you send your kid to another state to boarding school?
Oh, it would depend. I'm definitely not going to spend $55,000. I didn't even spend whatever it cost to send to one of our exclusive schools here. But it just blew me away.
You know, my 9-year-old was selected. He auditioned for the North American Boy Choir, and they called me up to tell me he'd passed the audition and they want him. They said he has to come to Princeton and live in our boarding school. And I'm like, I'm a homeschool dad. You think I'm going to give my firstborn over to somebody?
You're probably thinking of the Vienna Boys Choir, too, a little bit. Somewhere I would be thinking about the Vienna Boys Choir and the things going on there.
This was the most prominent one, and they came through Tulsa touring, and they said, hey, we'll do auditions afterwards. And wow. But, it's just like, I'm sorry, that's a lifestyle change. It just a homeschool dad in Oklahoma. We don't. No.
Yeah. It was, but anyway, so that's where I was. And I hated most of my time out there. California's beautiful, but I was kind of trapped. I was convinced we don't need a rental car. We don't need a hotel. Just stay here. And that's all I did is stay there in that house. And meantime, my mom, my wife and daughter and granddaughter and all of their friends, they're all over the place. You'd think they were planning a wedding or something. But so I was just kind of trapped in Southern California for a week.
And that's the thing about us guys. It's our independence is having our own wheels.
Yeah.
And Bob Sullivan's here, the insurance guy. And isn't that true? More high school boys got to have their car than high school girls.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a milestone event. Get that freedom, get that vehicle, come and go, be wherever you need to be when you need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah. So anyway, we are joined today by one of the contestants for Insurance Commissioner of the state of Oklahoma, Robert Bob Sullivan. And we just found out, Dave made the same assumption as I had made all along, that you were related to the more well-known Bob Sullivan, former official here in the state of Oklahoma, ran for governor.
He chaired a blue chip panel, the performance audit commission that only lasted a year. Right. And then they were scared to death of him. And Bob and Jeannie are great friends of mine too. So, and he was a governor candidate in 2006. But Anyway, okay, I'm sorry, Eddie. I'll shut up.
You're being played off.
Well, now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know how to get him quiet. I hit that by.
I hear the music. We're going to break. But anyway, go ahead, Eddie.
No, anyway, yeah. So it's a pleasure, Bob. We just met several months ago, I guess, at the Tulsa Republican Men's Club. But anyway, why don't you give a little more of your background and for our audience out here?
Right, absolutely. So, yeah, Eddie, I know we just met truthfully a few months ago in truth, but I've been listening to you for so long. I feel like I know you. I feel like you're Uncle Eddie. And
I thought I knew him too.
Okay.
But it's a pleasure to be here. Yes, my name's Bob Sullivan, candidate, not contestant. It's not a game show.
Yeah.
Candidate for Oklahoma Insurance Commissioner, and I bring to the table a 20-year background in the insurance industry. I've been a property and casualty insurance specialist, so to say, for my entire career. Born and raised in Oklahoma, fourth generation Oklahoman, and third generation in the risk management profession, so to speak. My father was a risk manager and in-house attorney for the Grand River Dam Authority for many years. And my grandfather had an independent agency in Seminole, Oklahoma. And so I come by naturally. I guess it's in the blood. But I'm in this race because, in 2025, realizing that Commissioner Mulready is term limited, we elect our insurance commissioner in the state of Oklahoma, and it's a term limited position. That the timing was right, and the environment in Oklahoma is difficult and complex and sort of upside down, some would say, and it's going to require a strong consumer-focused advocate fighter to regulate insurance in the state of Oklahoma for the next 4 to 8 years. And I believe that my background as an independent agent representing multiple insurance companies throughout my entire career, it gives me a unique set of qualifications and a unique perspective relative to the other candidates at the time who had announced. And, being in this industry for my entire career, I graduated from OSU and thought I was going to be in the banking or high finance industry as a finance major. But I graduated at a time when the banking industry was on its downturn pre-2008. And those jobs weren't falling from the sky like you would have hoped, or like a college student graduating would have hoped, and found insurance and was able to apply that knowledge and that education that I'd spent 4 years obtaining to analyze risk, and seeing it from the company side initially was a great educational experience, great exposure to how insurance companies operate from the inside out. And that background was phenomenal, but my heart was in service. My heart is to serve the people of Oklahoma. And I've always felt that doing that as an independent agent, helping businesses and families and homeowners, farmers and ranchers manage the risk of living in this state was always near and dear to my heart. So being independent gave me more flexibility and creativity to do that, not beholden to one insurance company's rates or filings or forms. And I fell in love with it.
Now, let me just quickly, just to clarify something. Your background is more in commercial.
More in commercial. But as we were saying before the show, when you start out as an independent agent with zero book of business, starting from scratch, you're scratching and clawing your way to make a living.
So you didn't take over your daddy's insurance company?
No, I didn't inherit anything. I didn't take anything over from a dad or a family member. Started from ground zero. And when you do that, you're taking all the call-ins that come into an agency, and you're taking all of trying to call on all your friends and family and anybody that you know to try and write their insurance. And so had a pretty healthy book of home and auto business very early on. And I've been blessed to have helped 3 agents in my career retire out of the industry. Gentlemen who saw something in me and thought that I would be the great person to take over their legacy and the book of business that they built.
Yeah.
And that's been an honor of a lifetime. I mean, when someone has built a book of business or built an agency and comes to you saying, I think you're the right man for the job, that's a very high compliment. And it's been a blessing to have helped some great mentors and great insurance professionals in my career move on to the next chapter of their lives, where how they want to, and it's been fun.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Okay, so the state insurance commissioner, it's kind of be a watchdog, right? Regulator, deal with grievances and stuff. Now, Glenn, who, Eddie and I both know.
Mulready.
Yeah, Glenn Mulready comes from, I think, more the health, right? Health insurance. And the property insurance and casualty has seen massive spikes in premiums. And I'm sure both homeowners and commercial.
Correct.
And what solutions would you like to see us attempt to try to fix that?
Absolutely. Diving right in the first 90 days of our tenure in the insurance department, we're going to work very closely with local and particularly rural fire departments to improve their ratings, their fire ratings. There's a company called ISO that provides rating services for fire departments, fire protection, first responders. And the better your rating, the lower the insurance premium in that given area can be. And this is particularly problematic in rural parts of our state where it's volunteer fire departments.
Yeah.
To navigate that system of rating with ISO requires a lot of paperwork. It's bureaucratic in nature. And it's often there's not enough hours in the day for those volunteer firefighters to do that. So we want to partner with them to bolster that. That can yield immediate savings.
Okay. So that's going to be insurance ratings improvement.
Yep. And ultimately, the real answer, in my opinion, is competition. Mm-hmm. Being a free market conservative and a believer in that value system, I think we need to attract and recruit additional insurance companies to the state to take some relief from the market. I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of insurance companies in my career in various other states, competed against them as an underwriter, and have seen how competitive some of them can be. Some of them, it wasn't even worth me quoting the policy in the first place because I knew I was going to lose by 20%.
Yeah.
But those companies that I have in mind have never written policies in the state of Oklahoma, don't have any appointed agents in Oklahoma. Yeah. And they've been told, or they believe, that Oklahoma is not a profitable state where they can operate. Mm-hmm. And I think some of that narrative has come from their competitors who'd rather not see them here. And some of that, I think, is just a misconception because to many insurance companies, and I witnessed this on the company side, we're a flyover state. And they're not going to come to Oklahoma to see what it really looks like, see the beauty of green country, see sunset in western Oklahoma, see and meet the quality of people in our state who care for their properties, who maintain their properties, who are good risks.
Oh, you're onto something there, because you saw it with COVID in the paradigm shift of more people working from home. It allowed us to keep some of our best and brightest young people from moving to the East or West Coast to really pursue at a higher level in their careers. And my son being one of them. But what those companies had to do was incorporate as an employer in Oklahoma to do payroll in Oklahoma. So you pay Oklahoma tax, not New York City tax and New York State tax. Right. And talking to a legislator about it, he left after 12 years. And I noticed his company was incorporated in Wyoming. And I said, you're an Oklahoma lawmaker. Why are you? He says, it's a lot cheaper and easier to incorporate in Wyoming. Delaware being another for banking. And it's our bureaucracy that creates such a hurdle in incorporation and stuff. And I think that probably applies, like you're talking about, for insurance companies to establish here.
Absolutely.
All the hoops they have to jump through. So you're going to look at streamlining that.
Absolutely. We have to.
Okay.
And I think the system for insurance companies to come into our state and operate on a trial basis, so to speak, is in a position that's unique. I'll give Commissioner Mulready a lot of credit. Oklahoma, as a domicile for captive insurance programs, has grown dramatically in recent years under his
What does that mean to us homeowners?
Sure.
I don't understand.
Well, what I think it could mean is that insurance companies or startup insurance companies, some are called insurtechs because they're more tech based, could come into Oklahoma and establish a risk retention group or something like that a little more easily in Oklahoma than in some other states. And that could provide some unique opportunities for rate relief for consumers. We see it happen most prevalently in the commercial space. There are captives for large employers that have their employee benefits programs. It's basically a self-insurance vehicle. We've also put together and seen in my work and with my company, captives for other types of risk, high hazard liability, things that the standard insurance market just doesn't want to spend the time thoroughly underwriting and doing the actuarial legwork. And it's a great avenue for self-insurance.
One thing dealing with this whole thing of rates here in Oklahoma, I try to do some investigating on my own. Why? Now, commercial rates, honestly, really have not jumped that much for Oklahoma. That's the one area that I've had clients for 5 years and their rates may have gone up like 1% or something like that. Whereas it's the personal lines, auto, home, that they're huge rate hikes but then I looked into it. We're number 3 in the nation for highest rates. Number 1 is Florida, 2 is Louisiana, and we're 3rd. The difference between us and them, they have hurricanes. Our big thing is tornadoes. And I wonder, well, how can Texas be lower? They have hurricanes and tornadoes.
Correct. And
everything. And then finally I saw Texas has 32 million people to share the risk. We have 4 million. In the whole state. I didn't realize we only had 4 million. New York City has more people than Tulsa as a state. So it's all about sharing the risk. And so if you can share the risk among 32 million versus 4 million, it's easier to keep your rates lower than it is. So I don't envy you because people don't understand. The layperson out there that sees and reads about, these rates are just ridiculous. Keep that. Well, they don't understand all the factors that go into it. And in fact, one of the biggest insurers in the nation, the one that you see commercials with Pat Mahomes in them all the time, they have sustained a loss over probably the last 10 years. And yet they keep their, and we're talking not just chump change, we're talking billions of dollars they're losing a year for probably 8 to 10 years now. Yet they're still trying to beat everybody on rates. And eventually you just can't do it. You just can't sustain that. So.
If you look at, for instance, my house its value has doubled in the last 10 years on the market. If you look at Zillow's numbers, obviously it's twice the risk that they're underwriting. Of course, it's, the rates are going to go up. Here's the thing I want to get to, because you will have to handle health insurance. And there's a dynamic here. People want to make sure that you're able to handle the health insurance on the state level. Now, only a certain percent of us, guys like me, who are self-employed, had gone to the federal marketplace to get our insurance and to get help. If we qualify for it, that federal subsidy for Obamacare, to call it, according to a lot of lawmakers, it's going away.
Right. It's
phasing out. That's going to create a problem for a lot of mom and pop's businesses.
Absolutely.
How do we deal with that? What do you expect to come?
Well, what is currently happening right now, the state legislature in Oklahoma empowered Commissioner Mulready to create our own state-based exchange for that type of health insurance program. And he's moving forward with that. Hopefully, I haven't checked the hiring page on OID in a few days, but there were a few open positions still for that health insurance marketplace division of the Oklahoma Insurance Department. And I think that'll give Oklahoma a better leverage point for the consumer to access healthcare insurance for that individual small business type of consumer. But ultimately, the health insurance marketplace and the writers in it, so much of their marching orders come from the federal level because of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, whatever we want to call it today. So I think there's less in 2026 for the insurance commissioner to do regarding health insurance than there was in 2017, 2018. But I think there is major opportunity. And I was just reading, I still need to digest all of what I read, but Insurance companies operating in the state of Oklahoma are adapting. I think Blue Cross and Blue Shield just rolled out a new program, I think tailor-made and aimed at that small business consumer. There's always going to be adaptations from the marketplace.
But the subsidies for, let's say somebody's got a lawn mowing business just getting started. He's not making a whole lot, and he's probably got a couple of kids to feed, and stuff. And him and mom are doing their best. They've been getting some help from the federal exchange, the cost sharing.
Right.
If that's going away, are you saying there's going to be any help?
I don't know what there's going to be from a federal level. I don't know that the subsidy is going to continue. I'm a little pessimistic and bearish about the future of that.
But is the state offering it? I can't imagine
Oklahoma doing that. I don't think we're going to be in a position to do that unless something dramatic happens at a legislative level.
See, I have a different position as well, and that is it really the state's job to do that?
That's a good point.
And that's one of the reasons America is in such shape federally, and we're kind of transferring it, because if you start, right now we've got people, non-resident aliens, and anybody that wants to get health coverage, they can just go to St. Francis or St. John's or Hillcrest and sit in the emergency room and be taken care of. And
it's been that way for 50 years.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly. And so, but then you've codified it through these exchanges and different things like that, instead of encouraging people to, get a job, get private insurance, and so forth and so on. I mean, I'm kind of a real hard-hearted conservative when it comes to that. The state needs to be for those who absolutely have to have it, widows, orphans, things like that. Like biblically, when you look at the Bible, we take care of widows and orphans, not just some guy. One of the things that
not the state, the church.
Well, the church should. Exactly. Yeah. We have replaced the church with the state. Yeah. But anyway, I could go on. Yeah. Bob, I don't want to take away your time. So what do you see as the biggest things that you want to and need to deal with that haven't been dealt with yet?
Well, I think the most innovative idea that we're going to bring to the table, and this is something I'm really excited about, and I'm hopeful that we can get the support at the state level and potentially at the federal level, is, since we were talking about health insurance, the concept of a health savings account, but applied to deductible and disaster risk in the state of Oklahoma, or from a property perspective. If we can craft some type of investment vehicle similar to an HSA or even a college 529 plan that would provide we as Oklahomans with a vehicle to save and set aside money, if we can do this at a federal level, doing it on a pre-tax basis, and having an investment vehicle within that so that those monies can grow at a market rate, and then having those monies available to be taken out without a tax penalty. I think that would provide Oklahomans with not only a way to fund the growing wind and hail deductibles that we're all seeing on our policies, but also with an avenue for making proactive improvements to your home. If you don't have a hail claim, but the roof is 7 to 10 years old and has seen better days, using those monies to make that investment in your home to make you a better risk, get you an insurance decrease on the back end. Or if you're in a position where you've funded this thing for a great many years and the Lord's been kind and the hailstorm and wind hasn't, caused damage, you're in a position where you've got a sizable amount of money and you can self-insure the roof exposure.
You know what? My home and auto guy, Dave Bryant, long-term guy.
Yes.
He said, I see a day when it's going to be up to people to pay for their own roofs. He says, this has become a joke, the way people scam the whole roof stuff,
Oh, absolutely. You bring up a great point. The fraud that exists in the claims ecosystem is widespread. I think it's wider spread than is being reported. I think it's an under-investigated or uninvestigated aspect of our insurance industry. And that's certainly a big focus point for my term as insurance commissioner. We need to honestly look at fraud, particularly in the roofing side of the world, and work with the Construction Industries Board that regulates roofing contractors in the state and make sure that they're actually allowed and permitted to be here in the state operating and putting roofs on homes, because we're seeing shoddy workmanship in a lot of cases. Some fly-by-night people will come in and sign contracts and take insurance money, and then you'll never see or hear from them again.
Yeah, I want to ask something about some changes Obamacare brought about. We got rid of high risk, which basically meant we all got put in high risk. Right. And then we got rid of all the very bare bones stuff, or a lot of them. And pretty much everybody, if you're on a silver plan or gold plan, it's Cadillac. It includes things you'll never need, but you don't really have an option. It's kind of a fascism in which the government said, here are the perimeters, and they kind of pick the winners and losers. You saw a lot of insurance companies get out of the whole underwriting because they couldn't conform. Well, here's the other thing. Pre-existing conditions. Now, part of you, and I won't go into it in great detail, you've given back a lot to the community, particularly mental health advocacy. And where I'm going with this is insurance. A lot of these people, as soon as you take one psychotropic drug, let's say postpartum depression, anxiety, whatever, as soon as you're on that, Blue Cross, all of them used to say, not going to insure you, or it's crazy riders they put on it. Mm-hmm. We got rid of the riders too. That was the other thing. I don't think that's going to go away, that, universal coverage thing to where nobody's excluded. Because one of the things that I do think dropped was the medical bankruptcies of families couldn't get insurance. And shoot, an appendectomy was going to, kill their finances, bankruptcy, or the least little things, speak to that. What do you?
I mean, you bring up a great point. Medical debt is still one of the leading causes of bankruptcy, if not still the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States. Mm-hmm. It's improved somewhat, but it's not. It hasn't dropped down to number 2 or 3 yet.
Okay.
So there's still a major concern with that. I mean, how insurance views mental illness, I think is a bit more punitive than it should be. It's a facet of humanity. Mm-hmm. I mean, just like breaking an arm, just like cardiovascular disease, mm-hmm. your brain is an organ, and sometimes things malfunction, either from a degenerative standpoint or, due to some trauma. So I think we need to be more honest about how we look at that, and not be overly discriminatory towards people with mental illness, because it's just another aspect of our human bodies, of our earthly shell, so to speak. And we'll be perfect one day, right? But not now, not here in this place. So I think that's something that we need to have serious conversations about reforming. And you're right. Mental health and mental illness is something near and dear to my heart. I've seen it from interactions with extended family, mm-hmm. and seeing how destructive and debilitating that can be to a family, to their economic mobility.
Now, your wife's career specializes in this area.
Absolutely,
in a way.
Yes.
And then you've done a lot of volunteer work. I think the Clubhouse, which is a day center for people with mental health issues.
Yeah, a psychosocial clubhouse for people with a mental illness, diagnosed mental illness, adults, where they can come and have a work order day and have socialized interactions with people, and can seek out employment opportunities and job training and job coaching. And if nothing else, just have a place to go and call their own is massively, it yields massive improvement in their overall well-being, and keeps them in a lot of cases more stable than just the medication alone.
Yeah.
Let me ask another side of all of this, and we touched on it just a little bit, is the fraud aspect. Mm-hmm. How prevalent is fraud in homeowners, auto, and so forth?
If you look at the current, most recent year-end report from the Oklahoma Insurance Department, fraud was a footnote at best. I think it got its own slide in the report, but it was a very rosy picture, according to the OID's data. And I look at that and kind of scratch my head after traveling around the state for the last several months and hearing about rampant fraud from everybody and anybody that comes out to hear insurance candidates speak. But I have a feeling that there is a gap in the input data to those fraud statistics. And if there's not a gap in the input, then there's some degree of misconduct on how it's being investigated. So that's a major point of concern. And you don't get to see the data until you're in the job, so to say. You need to get to go behind the curtain and see how the sausage is being made, so to speak. But that's something we're looking forward to investigating on a very deep level. And I think there's potential to involve other agencies in the state of Oklahoma in that investigation. I mentioned the Construction Industries Board. There's some fantastic trade associations within the roofing industry that are upholding a professional standard, that are very interested in making sure that their profession remains one, and that the bad actors don't drag down the reputation of the good guys doing good work, and putting Oklahoma families' lives back together, getting them back in their home, helping them resume a sense of normalcy. So there's a lot of stakeholders that I want to engage in that process, because I want to make sure that we don't unduly punish people who are doing the right thing based upon the actions of people doing the wrong thing.
That's the thing. Oklahoma is not a high regulatory state, especially in the occupations, careers, and things like that. And I know that goes more into the Department of Labor that oversees a lot of that. But speaking of that, when we have an issue with our utility, let's say rates, electric company or whoever, that's Corporation Commission.
Correct.
But does the Department, of Insurance Commissioner,
OID.
OID, does it have any interaction or involvement together with the Corporation Commissioner?
Those ties have been very loose, in to my knowledge, in recent history. I'm not sure how much meaningful interaction we could have with the Corporation Commission. I'm absolutely willing to explore that. I'm thrilled with the candidates seeking that office this year in this election cycle. And that's always an interest. The Corporation Commission is always an interesting one to interact with because of the staggered way.
Okay, but insurance companies go straight to Insurance Commissioner. Yeah,
that's correct.
Good.
Should be the sole source of regulatory power for the insurance industry in the state of Oklahoma.
But I'm telling you, if they start, doing this California style licensing of every occupation and stuff, you're going to see insurance rates really climb there.
Absolutely. It'll be an inflationary factor that is going to drive up cost for everything, including insurance.
Yeah. Because right now, for a guy to get involved in building trades, there's very little on that. Now, a customer might ask for an insurance bond. I've had that happen, and that's fine. But overall, you've got to, keep the cost of getting a contractor out to work on your property as low as possible.
Absolutely. And it's, I've had workers and contractors come out to my own home, and I always ask the question, are you insured? If they're a particular trade, are you bonded? And more often than not, the answer is absolutely yes. And they show the certificate, and we go on about our merry way. And then I've had some contractors come out to my house that say, no, I don't have any. And, and we've, usually it's a situation where I'm not calling someone that I don't know.
No, but there is some, the insurance company now oversees, it used to be Department of Labor, and it is, you sign away a waiver of liability if, let's say, you're the lawn care guy. And you say, okay, if you cause damage, rock flies through the window because your mower, what didn't protect against it, or one of my guys gets hurt.
Right.
That's the thing where people need to know that.
Sure.
They can request that waiver.
It sounds good, but there are lawyers out there that are doing their job on their end who find ways of getting around that.
Sure.
And therefore, a lot of insurance companies won't insure you unless you have workers' compensation and the homeowners. It's dangerous. It's really dangerous if you hire someone to do work and they don't have a certificate of regular insurance. So if they get hurt, they can doing sheetrocking or whatever in your home or fixing something. They get injured. They can charge workers' comp against you. So I know a lot of people, it increases the amount and so forth to get someone that is certified, has an insurance certificate, is insured and bonded. In the other cases, it'll save you a little money, but in the long run, you're kind of rolling the dice that you won't have it come back and bite on you.
It's a risk, absolutely, and life is full of risk. I mean, we all drove here today. We took a risk, just getting on the road.
Yeah. I'm just letting homeowners know that the insurance department does have that standard form. Absolutely. That is a waiver of liability.
Yes. And I think what you're also referring to is the workers' comp. The Workers' Comp Commission has a similar form for the workers' compensation.
For employees, but for if you are the owner of the business, it used to be under Department of Labor, it got moved over to the insurance department, and it's not a durable document. It used to be under Department of Labor. It was a durable certification that I don't sue my clients if I get hurt doing work on their property. Yeah. So,
let's dig a little into your family. We kind of did this backwards. My dad used to say bass backwards. But you've been married. You're married, and
we're celebrating 14 years of marriage at the end of this month. As I mentioned, my wife Jennifer works in mental health. Works in the Mental Health Association of Oklahoma. And we have 2 kids. My son, Sully, Robert Sullivan, the 15th or 20th or whatever.
Sully, that's kind of cool.
Well, we had to go with the nickname.
And it's a good one since Sully landed on the Hudson River. Yeah,
absolutely. And finding out, that it was my dad's nickname when he was in college. And I believe it was actually my grandfather's call sign in World War II. So we found that out later on. That it has more meaning than we even thought. And I also have a 9-year-old daughter. She just turned 9. Her name is Lindley. And great kids. Being a dad is another big driver of what has encouraged me to seek public office. I want to see Oklahoma be a state where my kids can grow up, start families, own a home, start a business, and not have insurance be the stumbling block or the roadblock to that process. I think the higher the premiums get or the more punitive insurance becomes, it dulls the competitive edge of Oklahoma. We're a very affordable state for people to live and move to and start businesses, by and large, compared to a lot of others. But we need to make sure that blade stays sharp. And as rates creep up, that dulls the edge. So I think that's in the best interest of the state of Oklahoma to have a highly competitive insurance market and an affordable insurance market, because that's the distinction. Competitive means one thing. It means you don't have a monopoly or an oligopoly, but affordability is ultimately what we feel.
Coming from the industry, do you see any things that you'd like to change that are current? I know there's a few I'd like to see, but sure. I'm not running for commissioner. So,
I think the biggest thing I would like to see change is the way insurance companies operate when the claim comes in. I've had to walk through this process with my clients so many times, and you have as well, I'm sure, Eddie. It's a traumatic event when someone loses a home or sustains major damage or has a car accident or requires significant medical care on the healthcare side. And that's bad enough. We shouldn't have insurance be the additional insult of the deny delay tactics that we're seeing become so rampant throughout the state of Oklahoma and in other neighboring states as well. This isn't just an Oklahoma issue. It's systemic. And being that advocate for the consumer and having the OID consumer department be more empowered and more enabled to help people when they call. It's probably going to come back and bite me, but all of my business cards throughout this campaign have my personal cell phone on it, because I feel that you deserve to have immediate access to your elected officials. And I'm probably going to make my phone incinerate at some point with the phone call and text message activity, but whatever, we'll go buy a new one. But I think having that focus on the consumer, on the policyholder, and also I'm never going to ignore this aspect of it, the agent. Good professional insurance agents make or break the entire system. There's this massive movement towards buying direct, buying online, handling your insurance business yourself. I look at that like representing yourself in a court of law instead of having a qualified attorney there to help you. I mean, that's a fool's errand. And But I would also like to see, for those consumers that feel themselves savvy enough to navigate this on their own, I want to see those proposals and those policies be written in a way and presented in a way, if they're purchased directly, that is understandable to the common man. And especially with regard to deductible risk, because that's a form of self-insurance. And the worst kind of self-insurance is the one you don't know about. And we need to do a better job as an industry of promoting accessibility for those documents to common people that just want to go on their own and buy.
I have a question that you just triggered in my mind, and that is on Medicare.
Okay.
Particularly Medicare supplements and Advantage plans.
Tee it up.
And the phone calls that Dave, myself, people at that age where you're aging into Medicare.
Your phone's incinerating too, isn't it?
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. Is there, I mean, I get 4 calls an hour all day long of people wanting to tell me that they have this deal. And most of them are trying to tell me, or they're promoting plans that are only eligible for people that are on Medicaid, the poverty, people below the poverty line. So is there anything that you can do statewide, or the insurance commissioner's office can do to curtail those calls?
I am hotly interested in investigating the agents who are doing that. I have witnessed, working with healthcare providers throughout the state, I've witnessed Medicare Advantage plans bankrupt, beautiful, brand new, purpose-built rehab and senior living facilities. Because of the way they operate. They pay about 66 cents on the dollar compared to traditional Medicare. So there's that issue. There's a receivables issue those facilities face when they're working in that environment. There's additional staffing that they have to do to just navigate the paperwork day to day. You're talking about taking RNs off a care floor just to do the paperwork to get 66 cents on the dollar. And that's a backwards system. And I've seen it with my own family, with my parents. My mother gets those same calls that you do, Eddie. And I feel like it's predatory marketing in a lot of ways. They're offering a product that is substandard in many ways and incentivizing people through Visa gift cards or some other coercive tactic to purchase this substandard plan. And you're giving up a Cadillac for a Pinto in a lot of cases. And I think that is absolutely something that we need to be cracking down on. With regard to the supplements, we're seeing massive swings up and down in that marketplace. Was speaking with a financial advisor that offices next door to me a few weeks ago, and he pulled up the rating platform that he uses for his clients. And this one carrier's doubling their premium and another one's cutting theirs by, 25%. So there's a lot of movement back and forth. And anytime you move a policy for a person, there's a lot of due diligence that has to be done to make sure that you're accurately representing what the policy is.
That money's got to come from somewhere and go somewhere.
I wanted to say something way back before Obamacare and all this, when I started my own business and I got a simple, pretty bare bones Blue Cross policy, high deductible, but they had a deal that clinic visits, paid right away, right? Without meeting your deductible and all that. And it was cheap enough. Now, all those have gone away. And now a guy like me in that position can't get insurance without help from the government, because Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, made it far less affordable.
The Forced Dependency Act.
Yes.
Would have been a more accurate
It
name.
really did. And that was the whole thing, is make the average Joe more dependent on government.
That's correct.
And so I don't know what to do there, but it covered things like I didn't need drug rehab. I'm a teetotaler, The drug rehab corruption is horrible right now. And you see people being shipped out of state and different things like that. And there's no accountability because it's largely not objectively monitored.
Right.
Anything in mental health, it's a little harder to do that in behavioral health, such as addictions.
Sure.
I don't know what's going to happen here, but that's got to be dealt with, because ultimately the guy paying his premium is paying for that corruption.
That's absolutely correct. And I think it's going to require a major federal overhaul of that system to undo and unwind the deep destruction that Obamacare did to the industry and the monopolies that it allows to exist today with regard to how healthcare insurance providers can own the pharmaceutical benefit managers and have this sort of vertical integration, which really enables, in my mind, a lot of wrongdoing to the consumer, where they can set the prices, fix the prices for their own plans, and that ultimately drives up the loss experience, which is burdensome to the employer who's having to pay those premiums, or the individual that's having to pay those premiums. It's also wreaking havoc with small independent pharmacies, particularly in rural areas, where they're being paid, I think the figure I heard was $11.50 less per prescription filled than the Walgreens, the CVS, the large mega pharmacy
How does
providers.
that happen?
That's the exact question I had. How can you do that?
It's how they are allowed to operate within the Obamacare framework. And it's creating massive turmoil in access to pharmacy services in rural areas, and they're hurting. We're absolutely interested in helping them and supporting them to make sure that Oklahomans have access to medication, critical medication that they're going to need. But that also has to be balanced with having the stakeholders from some large employment groups, large employers in the state that manage their own plans, that they know that if they have to come up with an $11.50 per script figure, it's going to turn their losses and their loss experience for their plans even worse.
Yeah.
Pharmacy spend is the driving cost of health insurance right now.
How about that?
It is the driving cost. And then obviously transplants and cancer diagnoses and things like that are also major drivers, but the pharmacy spend is growing at an exponential rate.
Here's my thing when it comes to rural healthcare, because that's always a big buzzword. I'm going to make a pretty unpopular stand here right now. And I mean, country folk are not going to
let them die. No.
But let's just use the analogy of the 911 system. Tulsa paid for their own 911. Yeah. We established our own. We didn't get state money to do it. Okay. Oklahoma City did as well and everything. Well, about 10 years ago, Josh Cockcroft put this bill and it passed for the state to take over 911, and that 25 cents a month addition to my phone charge got bumped to 75 cents, tripled the tax on it in order to fill in those little pockets out in rural Oklahoma that didn't have it. 2/3 of the cell phones are owned by people in the metro areas. And so you had the metro areas paying for rural 911. You want to live out in the country, that's one of the trade-offs. Believe me, there's a lot of things I wish I had country living for it that I don't have because I got neighbors right on top of me.
You're cruel and heartless.
Okay, now that was just an analogy because I'm going to talk about rural health care.
Okay.
What I say is two things that I think are corrupting. When I see things happen in the legislature, rural healthcare, and who gets the money? OU and OSU. And I question really if that's the most effective way of delivering on rural healthcare. I don't have a better suggestion. But then again, you chose to live out in the boondocks. And you're upset because you don't have a dermatologist 20 minutes away? Well, that's part of the trade-off. Believe me, I wish I had the beautiful scenery around me that you have. Okay, we all make our choices.
I have a question for you, Dave.
Yes.
Do you drink milk?
Yes.
Do you eat beef?
Oh, here it comes.
No, I'm just saying.
Yes, the National Farm Bureau owns Eddie.
No, my refrigerator owns me. That's what owns me. I want to keep those farmers farming being, and
that's a valid point, Eddie.
Thank you.
It is a valid point. But I also want to say what I just said is a valid point. And, that's one of the benefits and the, efficiencies you have of living in a metro area. And, people who need, all your volunteer work in mental health, you'll notice that, those people who need those kinds of mental health infrastructure, they tend to move into the big cities where they're available. Because, you did a nonprofit, the Clubhouse, a day center. They don't have one of those in Inola. They don't have one of those in Peggs, Oklahoma, right? Those are things you see in the big area. And so I get that.
Sure.
But I don't want, the people living in Broken Arrow to have to subsidize the people living out in Broken Bow. That's because they chose to live there. Sure. And this is the socialism we've got going on at the state level.
Yeah. But I would also counter that. I mean, particularly with access to mental health and mental health care, if we don't have a resource for those people who are in need of that type of care, most often what we're seeing, and I was just out in Enid yesterday, they're in the jails.
Absolutely.
And that's an issue that we've been facing in Tulsa for a great many years. Sheriff Vic Regalado has been very outspoken about not wanting to be the warehousing solution for people with mental illness in the Tulsa metro area. And that same sentiment exists in rural America as well. And we're going to bear that cost. Yeah. And I think it's less efficient for us to incarcerate and have these people in a jail setting than to actually treat the root cause and provide the care that they really need.
Historically, we've shipped them all to Veneta. They used to be a 2,600 bed state hospital.
I graduated from Veneta High School.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
not telling me anything.
Exactly. Okay, good. See, so, but I asked Frank Keating, I said, when you close this, the promise was we were going to have community-based mental health centers, and that never happened. And he just said, well, Brad Henry was supposed to do that because that was in my last year that I closed it. But yes, we should have those facilities. As far as the state goes, the state should serve the whole area equally, okay, prorated on population. Mm-hmm. And instead of just send them all to Veneta, Correct. And so, there isn't enough of that. Because this, what I'm talking about here, having that state infrastructure does impact the insurance.
Absolutely.
And that, so, I think we've got to do something.
We're going to have a discussion about that after Bob leaves.
Can I stay and watch?
Yeah.
This will be fun.
You have just switched sides on your position, but okay, but we'll do that later. Bob, is there anything else you'd like to let the viewers and voters know before Tuesday that they should consider and why they should vote for you? And if you want to, you speak to them right there.
Absolutely. No, I would encourage everyone to vote. First and foremost, exercise your civic duty. Vote on June 16th. If you couldn't do early voting today, you have until 2 p.m. today to early vote. I voted early on Thursday because Tuesday is going to be a wild and crazy day, I have a feeling. But exercise that civic duty and do your research on the candidates. So often we find that I hear all of these stories after every election. I didn't know who to vote for, so I just picked a box. And that's a very disheartening thing.
Oh, Bob's an easy, safe name to vote for. I think I will say my son's tagline: "Vote Bob for the insurance job,"
and he's got a bright future in marketing. But what I want you to know about me is that I'm born and raised Oklahoman. I've lived here my entire life. I have no intention of ever leaving this state that I've called home, and I care about policyholders and the citizens of Oklahoma, and I am personally invested in making this state better for everybody. And I'm bringing the best breadth and depth of expertise in the insurance industry of any of the candidates. I'm committed to being independent, and I've made very vocal points of this, that I'm not accepting any campaign contributions from the insurance companies, that it will be my job to regulate as the insurance commissioner in Oklahoma. And there's a long precedent of that, but I like my sleep at night, and I don't believe in having that ethical conflict in my own subconscious ever. And I think Oklahomans need to be aware of that. And I would just ask for your vote on June 16th. Again, votebobsullivan.com if you want to learn more about my plan. We have a copy of our plan for the first year, first 90 days, maybe, if we can really hit the ground running. And that's available there. It's votebobsullivan.com/plan.
Yeah.
Very
Great.
good. Well, thank you so much, Bob. And we appreciate you because I know you had a few other commitments that you squeezed us in between here today.
I'm grateful for it. Just love being able to sit down and talk with you gentlemen. And like I said, Eddie, I've been listening to you for so long. It's an honor.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Hey, God bless you, brother. And we'll talk to you soon.
God bless.
All right. I'll walk you out.
You guys got this down. Yeah. You're good.
We try. He passed away. Yeah. 5 years ago. Yeah. I can't believe it's been.
But I always think.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, thanks for coming in. How's it looking?
We did some polling. We piggybacked off the governor's polling 2 nights ago, and because there's been a lot of mention of insurance in that race, and 70% undecided, 30% decided are favoring me by, I think, 5% over Marty.
Wow.
And the other 2 are lagging much further behind. So it looks good, but that 70% undecided thing is.
I know.
So
keep you up at night.
Thank you for the help.
Hey,
with that.
God bless you. You take care. Okay. And I see that I have been speaking to dead air. with consistency. Hey, we're back, everybody, and some of us are not only back, we're black. But David, I think that was a pretty good interview there with
I think we made a new friend. He's a good guy.
He is a good guy. He is a good guy. I'll be honest, I didn't even know him personally until I think maybe 2 days ago, and I only saw him once, and then I saw him again this last week at the men's club, and then it turned out we didn't have anyone scheduled for today, and so we worked it out for him to come in here today. So it's interesting because I've known Marty McCall, not Marty McCall. Oh, get that phone under.
That's you.
Oh, is that me? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you got your Bluetooth tied in.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's turn it off. It's Mr. John Doak. Hey, John. How are you?
How you doing?
Former insurance commissioner on the line.
Yeah, we're doing our podcast. We're in the middle of doing our podcast.
Ask him if he wants to be going live.
Oh. Hey, no, sorry, I didn't realize you were on your podcast.
I can hear you.
I know. I'm talking to David, my co-host.
You're live, John.
Okay, go ahead.
How you guys doing?
How or what?
No, I was just checking in. Why don't you give me a shout when you're? I didn't realize you're in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah. We just finished the first segment, and we're getting ready to. You caught us in the middle of a break.
Bob Sullivan was on.
Yeah, so we're trying to decide right now whether to edit you out or not. We might, because I'm holding the phone in front of the microphone.
Got you. No, good job. I thought the interview was really well done, and look forward to catching up soon. It's going to be an interesting race, and so we've got some good candidates to choose from.
Well, I appreciate that. So, hey, thank you so much, and I'll call you as soon as we're done.
You got it. Bye.
All right, John. Bye.
John Doak, former insurance commissioner, weighing in.
Yeah, shows that someone's listening. We do have an audience.
Yeah,
it's funny. John Doak is a man who, I guess he's what would you say, tenacious, and he's really a good guy. I've got to say,
principled man.
Yeah, and it's funny because when he first ran, for insurance commissioner way back, I wasn't a supporter.
No, you weren't.
And but he's the type of person with the type of character that is willing to overlook that.
Yeah,
because when you're in political land, I guess I would call it, you can't have permanent friends and permanent enemies.
There are some who try to hold grudges.
Exactly, but he's not one of those, and I really appreciate that. And I feel honestly, he did a really good job as insurance commissioner. Somewhat initially to my surprise, but no, I think he has changed the agency for the OID, Oklahoma Insurance Department. Thank you.
Yeah.
But one of the things he did now, and it's funny because the current Commissioner Mulready didn't want to do it. We met before when he first got elected, and he wanted to have breakfast and get ideas. And I don't know if we've talked about this, but John Doak initiated a grandfather clause that when you turned, now I thought with John it was 50, but it's now 60. But when you turn 60, you no longer have to take a test. You no longer have to take this course or a test. You can either do it
to be an insurance agent,
to be licensed by the state.
Be a licensed agent. Okay, yeah.
So what Mr. Doak came up with was, if you've had, I think, 10 years of experience and you pay a fee and so forth. Yeah. Because it's basically the same questions every 2 years. Okay. Yeah. It's the same material. Yeah. And if you've been writing insurance for 10 years and you don't know the business, then you have no business being in it. And here, I'll tell you what I think too. There are these companies that will offer you sit there for, you pay them $300 and you sit there for 2 days and then somebody lecture. Well, people, what they do, they bring their laptops and watch movies. They'll do all kinds of stuff. And after the second day, they check you off and you're done. You get, and then you've got your continuing education. Well, to me, it doesn't do any good. You'd have to take a test initially. And to me, 10 years. And I think I don't know, I'm kind of negative in my thoughts sometimes, but it seems to me more that these companies that offer these seminars for you to sit through these continuing education classes for $300 and you get a room full of 50 people and you do this week after week after week.
Yeah, people make a career out of putting on seminars.
Exactly. And it really doesn't add anything to the quality of the insurance agent.
Yeah, because I don't think they're really educating you.
Well, definitely the ones who aren't watching and paying attention.
I mean, Eddie, you get a babysitter to watch your kids and she just sets them in front of, PBS, Sesame Street the whole time. That's very low quality.
Right. So anyway, I think that, in fact, we didn't get into that with Bob Sullivan, but I think, and I'm hoping he will continue that, to honor agents that have been in it. If you've been an agent, you need to be, now 60 years and have so many years of experience.
That's important.
Right.
It's the experience that, to me, justifies.
Right. And here's the thing, too. Many of these companies have their own internal courses you have to take.
Oh, yeah.
Tests you
the
have
good
to take,
ones do.
Especially Medicare. Every year, as you know.
I know. I'm studying for my state insurance test
trying to get his test
to sell Medicare.
Right. And every year you have to do this with the federal government to be able to get your Medicare certification. And it's just kind of, and it's funny because every company has their own certification process you have to go through and their test or whatever you have to go through. So, I mean, if we did tests and these certifications for every company and everything every year and every month, I mean, you'd hardly be able to do anything but study and do tests all the time. And so anyway, I have to say John Doak eliminated that. Now, we do still have to take certain ethics. You have to take ethics every 2 years and changes in the law. So if there are any legal changes from the House or the Senate, the government, then you have to be up on it. Legislative changes, they call it. Okay. And so anyway, but just to say, of all the things that Mr. John Doak did, I think that was a real service that he did to the insurance industry in Oklahoma. There are more things that he did, but anyway, like I said, I've really grown to appreciate him and to consider him a friend now. Yeah. Anyway, back to Bob Sullivan. I was really impressed. I like his calm demeanor. And he has such depth of experience in both the private, what we call personal lines, auto, home, your personal lines. And then in commercial, he started out as a big commercial writer with a big, one of the big companies. And then he left them and now he's
in commercial, ag is a big part of that out where he lives. The ranchers, the farmers, that's still considered commercial, right?
No. Farm and ranch policies are separate. It's a whole separate category.
I still see it as a commercial thing, because it is.
Well, yeah, you're the same guy who wanted to just basically deny them any benefits.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you said that those people living out in the rural parts of Oklahoma.
You're talking property and casualty. I'm talking health care.
No, we're not talking. Well, it's property. It's commercial. It's not commercial. It's agricultural. I'm just saying it's a different policy.
It is.
It's a different category
no doubt.
From your normal commercial policies.
Yeah.
We haven't had anything to really argue about yet, so we found that one.
We're getting ready to.
Yeah, we're getting ready.
It's really exciting. I think you wanted to get to the Coonsweiler thing, and I've just pulled up the Beacon because you said the Tulsa Beacon. It's TulsaBeacon.com.
Yeah, TulsaBeacon.com. There's an article, front page.
Hotly contested Tulsa District Attorney's race is the headline.
Yep. And you need to read this. You need to read this because it confirms everything Dave and I have pretty much known all along, but even a little more in depth.
I am just stunned at how pathetic his challenger is, that she thinks her best issue is to say that Kunzweiler's gone over has prosecuted criminal behavior in cops. Well, isn't that a good thing? I mean, a good cop hates a bad cop more than anyone else because he's dragging down the entire profession, the ethics, the integrity of their career vocation. And yes, if a cop has turned bad, you got to get rid of him. And if Kunzweiler wasn't willing to go after even the Betty Shelbys, for instance, then, I'd be ready to get rid of Kunzweiler. And because I still think that there are problems with cops getting away with lying in court where you and I would go to prison for it. It's called perjury. But when a cop does it, they get a special dispensation.
That's true. And here's the important part right here. And I want everybody to take this and pass it on. And if you want to go to the TulsaBeacon.com, you can read the whole article yourself. But basically, here's the thing on Miss McCarty, okay? McCarty graduated from TU Law School in 2020, 6 years ago, basically. So in 2020, she graduated from TU Law. While in school, she was an intern at both the Tulsa and Wagner County DA's offices for, get this, a total of 3 months.
Oh, that's qualified.
Yeah, 3 months.
3 months, that's qualified.
That is the extent of her prosecutorial experience that can be found. And if you can't find it, that somebody's had more experience, trust me, it's not there, okay? She held 2 jobs as a lawyer. She's held 2 different jobs as a lawyer. Now, this is going to really be fun. The first was with Oklahoma for Criminal Justice Reform.
Oh, I know who they are.
She was their policy counsel and deputy director, where she managed a team of 6 employees. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, one of the big things they pushed our legislature for, right about that, about 2021, 22, was the no bail reform, where they would decide whether you are qualified to be put out on bail or not, and then there wouldn't be bail. Well, there's a lot of states.
New York.
The left and right coasts that are trying to do that. And guess what?
Oh, they've already done it.
Yeah.
New York City. That's one of the big problems.
And they're going out and murdering people while they're on cashless bail.
Right.
And this is the kind of corruption. This is all the George Soros wing.
Exactly.
And she was an employee of one of these things pitching George Soros's agenda.
Right.
That tells you exactly who she is, right there.
That's right. And the OCJR, which is the Oklahoma's for Criminal Justice, they pushed for State Question 780, which expanded petty larceny to include up to stealing $999 each day. So if you don't know what petty larceny is, it's stealing anything under, I think it's $500 right now. And now it's, if you go over $500.
I think that did get changed.
Oh, did it get changed? So now she was instrumental. So if you steal anything under $1,000, basically, it's considered petty larceny.
I didn't have a problem with that because when that law was first put in place at $500 was the equivalent of what $2,000 is today. It's that long ago. So you've got to have in the statutes an adjustment for inflation, or you really don't have a proper law.
Well, how about stealing $0?
It's still a crime. It's just not a felony that requires a year in prison minimum.
Okay. No, I don't think it's a felony any longer. I think it's considered
Once you go over that, $1,000 now it is classified as felony.
over 1,000.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is, how is it going to be a deterrent if you don't get people? For example, I rob you and you got $950 and I take that. And
Well,
then
the fact that something's a
it's not a
misdemeanor.
felony anymore.
Yeah. The fact that something's, a misdemeanor doesn't mean that you don't aggressively prosecute. Okay. But I will tell you, DA's department, they will prioritize and should the felonies. There's no doubt about it.
Sure.
But this comes to the matter of how much do we fund our DA department so they can fully protect us?
Right. But see, here's the thing. There are plea deals anyway.
Yes.
So if you keep it a felony,
Yeah.
in other words, you steal something, particularly what they call it, personal crime, from a person, then, stealing from a person, anything, if I steal $50, if I rob you of $50 and you tell us it's just a misdemeanor, we'll slap your hand or whatever, then, or whatever the max is for a misdemeanor versus a felony, that's not much of a deterrent.
Right. But both the court, the judges, and the prosecutors, here's their mindset. And in fact, I'm quoting a judge. I won't say her name, but she said, when it comes to misdemeanors, you stack them deep and settle them cheap. It's like herding cattle, getting them through,
Right.
because of the limited resources and the lower priority.
Well, that's another issue.
Yeah.
But that would be like God saying, well, there's so many sinners, I'm not going to count these sins.
Yeah, I think
You know what I'm saying?
as a state, we need to properly fund these public safety things.
Thank you. Exactly. That's true. Okay.
And
So,
but I don't have a problem with making an adjustment for inflation once in a while in the statutory language.
well, if that's the case, then in 5 years, it should be a $2,000
Well,
or $2,500.
I think a smarter thing would be to tie it a number that's tied to the federal poverty rate.
I'd say you do the crime, you do the time.
I understand that. But,
Okay.
But what I will say, Frank Keating was known largely for this, his get tough on crime. He's a former FBI agent and former federal prosecutor. Okay. And some of the things sounded really good when we passed them, but it became a problem once we saw it implemented.
Right.
The 2-3 strikes, you're out, and things, the formula and stuff. There's some things the legislature needs to let the judge be the judge.
Right. But I don't think by setting a limit on misdemeanor versus felony, they need to allow judicial discretion, but still keep it a felony.
However,
That's how I say it.
Yeah.
And if you got a record, if it's a juvenile, you're good for so many years.
Yeah.
It gets expunged. If you're an adult, it stays with you.
Yeah.
You rob Joe Blow of $50, $100, rob so and so's jewelry store, liquor store.
Right. During COVID and after, we've seen a real rash in shoplifting. And what it did expose was a few things, because some of our problems are not just with the cops and the prosecutors and the courts. Some of the problems are the retailers themselves. We found out Quick Trip does not even report it. Somebody walks out with a case of beer, they let them walk out.
And this is one of the reasons right here, because it's not going to get prosecuted. It's not worth it.
But your typical item on a Quick Trip shelf is not going to be anywhere near 500, much less 1,000.
No, but the problem is if you have the same person do it every day for a week, then it's not $5 any longer. It's $25, and in a month it's $100.
No, each one is a count of an act of crime.
All right, so to get to $900, to get to $1,000, that's a whole lot of $5.
They don't
$10.
add them up aggregately. Each one is a crime prosecuted separately. The evidence is unique.
Okay, all right. So if that's the case, then so what you're saying then is each time they steal $5 worth of whatever.
Now you bring them to court with 83 counts of petty larceny.
But it's still a misdemeanor.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's 83
What
counts.
are the maximums for a misdemeanor?
Each one of them, if each one of them 6 months in prison and you got 83 of them, that's a pretty hefty.
Well, okay,
penalty.
Dave. So if you're letting someone steal and get prosecuted or for 83 times, then something's wrong right there.
Right.
What I'm saying is you do it once, you nip it in the bud. Or they're a real serious criminal.
Did you ever shoplift, Eddie, as a kid?
Yeah, I did.
Pretty much every kid did.
Right. But that's just what I said. It's a kid. It's two different. You got juvenile court and you got adult court. If you haven't learned to quit shoplifting by the time you're 18 or 21, you're a habitual criminal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just hate to say it.
Yeah, but you know what?
There's two rules, different.
You catch a kid while he's a kid, you're probably going to stop all of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're not talking about catching anyone, or we're talking about the punishment for the crime.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I don't want to get hung up.
Yeah,
Anyway, but she was pushing to raise it to make it even harder to prosecute somebody.
780 and 781 both passed. In fact, it was election night, and I was the one that broke the news to Kunzweiler on that.
Well,
and his jaw dropped.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Her second job, that was the first job pushing this deal. Okay. Her second job, also, she founded the Oklahoma Appleseed Center for Law and Justice. Doesn't that sound a whole lot like these, what is ACLJ or the one that we found out is being paid for by they were paying the Ku Klux Klan to do things.
Oh, so the Southern Poverty Laws.
SPLs. Yeah.
I know it. Yeah. No, look, you know exactly where this is coming from.
Right.
You just look at what happened in Manhattan. A guy, attacks a bodega owner. The bodega owner kills a guy, and they prosecute the bodega owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Appleseed Center for Law and Justice. It drips progressiveness, the liberal.
Well, the ACLJ is a Christian deal. Jay Sekulow started, so keep in mind.
Right. Well, yeah. To me, this sounds a little bit different. Okay.
Yeah.
That was in 2022. Her position was as executive director. The Oklahoma Appleseed Center won an Anthem Award. Now, you'll love this. The site explains that the Anthem Award is the Webby Awards benchmark for social impact work, recognizing brands, nonprofits, and individuals who are setting the standard for good worldwide.
Right.
Do you want to? Now, here's a list of other winners.
Yeah.
Planned Parenthood.
Yep. Yeah. No, look, she's a bleeding heart liberal.
ACLU. Rare Beauty, whatever that is.
Yeah.
World Central Kitchen, along with special.
I've seen a lot of these people. Beauty is very rare.
Gloria Steinem, Matt Damon, Billy Porter, and Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah.
Oh, man, there's one for you on your side.
Yeah, you know who she hangs with. I mean, folks, this is who she is, okay? Yeah. She's bleeding heart liberal at best. Maybe
who's never been in court and wants to be the boss. She doesn't want to pay the cost to be the boss. She wants to be the boss.
And the one thing they can hold on Kunzweiler is he actually prosecuted criminal activity amongst law enforcement. You know what? That's probably one of the best things I like about Kunzweiler is when he holds the cops accountable to the same standards as he holds you and me. Yeah,
and I couldn't find it here. I thought I saw it earlier. That he has prosecuted, he has 28 years of experience, and he oversees 50 DAs, assistant DAs. He's got 50 people on his staff.
He's got a great staff.
Yeah, and but I cannot see the number. I thought there was a number, but let's put it this way. I guarantee you he's overseen or taken part in thousands of cases.
Because I'll tell you, my daughter was low man on the totem pole, so to speak, in that department for about a year. Maybe not. But listen, my daughter was one of those that if you're going to get treated like crap, it's usually the low rung on the ladder, right? She had nothing but great things to say about almost everybody there. Kunzweiler has put together a team with integrity.
Yeah, I can't imagine. With the background that we just read, the team that she's going to put together, because she'll have to bring a whole new crew.
She'll clean
progressives,
house.
Yeah.
She will clean house.
And those progressive, you will see a transition. It'll become Philadelphia. It'll become New York. We've got to, let me speak to you. We've got to stop. This is ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely that people would, and I'm so shocked. I'm shocked and offended that conservatives, so-called conservatives, are actually supporting this young lady.
Yeah.
It baffles the mind that they would be willing to do that. And usually there's one of two things going on here. Okay. One of the main people runs an online magazine or newsletter or whatever. Okay. I would not be surprised if they're not getting paid.
Okay.
Someone's paying them to put good stuff up. Yeah. Then you've got other people who have bones to pick.
Who's calling you now? Boy, you're a popular guy.
It's a suspected spam.
Yeah, yes.
Anyway, who have personal grievance. Mm-hmm. You know, and a couple of them are not even in Tulsa County.
Yeah.
They're not even in Tulsa. That I can't understand. Why are you involved in this?
I'm going to say this because this week, the trial of Carmelo Anthony took place, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get a Colleen McCarty as a DA, they would posthumously be prosecuting the murder victim for assault and name calling. That's probably what would happen.
Well, that would be the defense. Yeah, that would be the defense.
And I mean, this is the kind, it would be race-based civil justice all the way.
Yeah.
And
poor black kid who has a knife and he's, it's just. It's his upbringing.
And I'm afraid it would be war on white folk in Tulsa County.
Well,
that's really what I'm afraid of.
I think I don't want to limit it to race. I would say it would be a war on common, decent, law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. So Tuesday, you know what to do, and I hope and pray that
I am shocked at many of my Republican friends that have her signs up.
I know.
I just, it tells me what's missing in their good judgment.
And yeah.
Now listen, Eddie, you and I both.
Because it's nonpartisan, it makes it even worse.
No, this is partisan.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yes.
Okay, I thought.
Thank God it is.
Oh, it's because it's county and not city.
No, because it's state office.
Or state. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
District Attorney is state.
Oh yeah, they are state officials. Okay. There used to be what was called the county prosecutor.
Right.
But there was more corruption in that. So back in the 70s, several states changed to district attorney. Plus, it also helped so that several rural counties would share the cost of having that prosecutor. Right. It was good, but it made them accountable to the state under the DA. I mean, under the AG's office. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, I'm telling you, this is the kind of problem you think you got problems now. Because look, you and I have been at times held Steve Kunzweiler accountable for things we thought he did wrong.
Right.
But you and I have the utmost respect for his personal integrity and his sense of fairness. He doesn't always get it right, but I think he's a good man in his priorities.
Yeah, and he will sit there and argue with you about those decisions.
Oh, he loves to argue.
Steve
loves a good debate.
He's a lawyer. He's a prosecutor.
He loves it. Yeah. He just loves that.
But anyway,
process.
it's up to you now. There's to buy this story that this young lady deserves to be the head of prosecutors, who has never not only prosecuted, never defended a case.
Yeah. So a couple of, I guess it was 8 years ago, Steve Kunzweiler was challenged. Ben Fu was one of them.
Yeah.
Ben used to work for him. Right. As did Jenny Prohl, and who ran against him, Democrat. And the interesting thing we found when Steve was here a couple of months ago, I talked about on Pat Campbell kind of hosted a debate on the radio with Ben and Steve. And Steve really was losing that debate until the very end where they were allowed to ask each other questions. And Steve knew that Ben had supported Hillary Clinton over Trump. And Steve said this a couple months ago. He says, I knew Ben would not lie. Ben tried to wiggle out of the question, and finally, he got pressed on it. He said, yeah, I did. And for Steve to acknowledge the character in his opponent shed something about Steve, that he was willing to objectively say, I know you're a man who will not lie to me. Because he worked for him.
Yeah. And Colleen gave to the Bernie campaign. Okay,
yeah.
She's given to Democrats. What it was only the minimum amount or whatever. Only the minimum amount. You get enough minimum amounts, they win. I mean, honest. Why would you vote? It's basically what you're saying. Well, I don't want to give a lot, but I'm casting my ballot against the other person, the Republican, and against Trump, basically.
Yeah. Hey, you just brought up something that I think, I don't want to get too far down this rabbit trail, but this is why we have so much dark money. Because when you give to a campaign, you've got to report it. You got to own it and everything.
Yeah.
You can give to a PAC and nobody will know.
Yeah, which leads me to our next candidate discussion, and that is the attack on Mike Mazzei.
Okay.
All of a sudden, all the ads are attacking Mike Mazzei because he's the king of the hill right now, and they want to tear him down. And there's two things they've been able to bring up. One was a vote from 2015 or 14. Is it 14, even older, and in which he apparently voted to support the national popular vote, the popular vote instead of the electoral vote. And to be honest with you, Mike wasn't that versed on. And I think we've talked about this. Mike had a really severe car accident prior to that. And his father had to drive it. He had to lay in his car every day.
He had a broken back,
and was transported to the Capitol. And he pretty much laid in his office, had to lay down and answer calls and do things. Yeah. And so at that vote, he was not that up. And other people that are Josh Brookheen voted for it at the time. Josh Brookheen is one. Kyle
Loveless.
Gary
Stanislawski. He's my senator.
Yeah, all of these. But Mike Mazzei voted for this thing, and all of them. Was it you that told me you talked to Gary about
I was very involved and interacted with them. I mean, Gary saw what I posted just minutes later on Facebook. And Gary called me up, left the Senate floor and said, what'd I do wrong now? Because Gary and I had this really a great relationship. Even though, he didn't always vote my way, he listened because I was a constituent. But now I've got to go back before that. I was not a big Mike Mazzei fan. I saw his absentee numbers. It's horrible. I didn't know the details. But now I realize the days he was able to get there, what agony that man went through. And with the help of his family and everything, he tried. For him to do the people's work took more effort from him than anybody.
Well, also on top of that, as I understand, because we got a similar situation with who's running for Congress from Jenks,
Mark
Tedford, that they're accusing him of missing a number of votes and so forth. And as I understand it, the votes that Mike and he missed are minor issues, not major.
Well, Mike missed a lot for a time period. They really did. Right. But so Mike,
can you move that more? Because
you know what? That's a good point.
They're almost seeing the back of your head, and I don't want that. I want them to see the best side.
All right. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, you got it. How's it looking on here?
To pull that up. Good point. Boy.
That's right. I thought maybe we might check.
All right.
Are we good?
Yeah, we are.
All right, we good. Please continue.
Okay, so this is the kind of thing Mike really was making a bigger effort. Now, listen, I didn't always like Mike's votes. I would say, at that time, when it come to people who read the bill, Nathan Dahm was the gold standard, really was. And Nathan, saw what was coming. Nathan was the guy, you go to the Capitol to see him and you'll see a sign on his door and it's locked. He says, I'm closed for bill reading till 2 p.m. Or things like that, because he was less available. Didn't do as much of the whining and dining with lobbyists and going to lunch with them, and all these different things. Because believe me, a lot of whining and dining happens there. Well, one of them was this national popular vote. And so when that passed, it was a sneak attack. It was a Senator Rob Johnson from Enid who was the guy pushing that. And Brian Bingman, who was president of the Senate, agreed for this, totally by surprise, threw it on the docket for the afternoon session that morning. And 18 people did vote against it, but about 28 people voted for it. And you mentioned some of the people. Kyle Lovelace, the champion of civil asset forfeiture reform, voted for it. Kyle's somebody I respect greatly and am good friend with. But, Gary told me what happened, because when he called me just minutes after the vote, he said, here's what's wrong with our current system. We never get candidates in Oklahoma, after the primary, of course. They don't do this. We don't do, and all this. And I said, yeah, Gary, but this doesn't fix any of that. They will spend all their time in the biggest cities trying to drive up the numbers, because it's whoever has the most votes.
Right.
Doesn't matter if they're all West Coast votes. Doesn't matter if they're illegal aliens voting. Doesn't matter. All these things. And, when I got to talking to him, he says, oh, my God, I just got snowed. Gary owned it. Mm-hmm. He says, yeah, I screwed up on that. And
it happens occasionally.
And Mike Mazie is saying the same thing. Yeah, that was pitched to us, and it was a rush job. I'm trying to get back on my feet. Now, somebody else who chimed in on that, because we had this big, long Facebook thing going, it blew up after that, because it now goes over to the House. Jason Murphy said, a lot of my colleagues went to the Caribbean to go to a seminar paid for by National Popular Vote. They all went to St. Thomas Virgin Islands and other places. Now, Mike Mazie wasn't doing any of these junkets because he has to travel back and forth laying on his back, his dad driving him. Mm-hmm. So Mike didn't get bought off. He got snowed. Right. But you know what? Several very intelligent people got snowed that day.
Oh, it's like the whole exchanges. Okay. Yeah. I think we may have talked about this before when it came out. It turns out that Randy Brogdon, who's the assessor, John Wright. Yeah. Several of these people voted.
Mary Fallon was snowed.
Voted for the exchanges. Yes. They were all support. The current insurance commissioner was for the exchanges. So it's one of these deals that we tend to be selective who we allow to make mistakes. And it's usually used as ammo. Here's the thing, 12 years ago, this was 12 years ago, this is Mike Mazie's situation, the vote. Mm-hmm. Nobody's ever heard a word about this. All of a sudden, boom, that's the one thing they pull out. Have you seen anything else criticizing Mike Mazie?
No.
Okay, there's one other, but that's a more current thing. But so for all this time, he is the one who first started the no tax on groceries. That was his big deal while he was still in the Senate. He's been working on this for 10, 12 years.
Oh, John Sullivan before him. I mean, it's been a big push because it's one of the worst things about Oklahoma. When I came from Minnesota, it never paid taxes on groceries.
Right. So, and he now is looking at repealing the state income tax. Mike, is that in? But that gets all swept under with this kind of stuff. There's a new thing, and this brings a whole new subject up, and that is, eminent domain and the right of township and area. It's the aluminum smelting plant.
Yeah.
Mike was for it.
Yeah.
And what they don't tell you is that the process they use to process aluminum these days is 10 times more environmentally safe than it was 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
And all they say, you're picturing these stacks with this black smoke coming out of them. I mean, come on,
Well, but Eddie, let's look at this. What Mike's doing as a member of the legislative body is looking at legislation that the governor puts out there. It says, if we will pass these certain reforms and incentives to commerce to bring in a certain industry, are you in favor of doing it? Is it worth the investment? Now, I'm not a big fan of corporate welfare,
right?
But nothing in that legislation mentions what town it's going in or what is imposed on the people of that town. Those are all local zoning issues for towns to decide. And to somehow pretend that because you voted for this incentive package for an industry, which I generally don't support, but it doesn't mean that you're trying to destroy a town.
Right.
That's asinine.
Yeah. Well,
but they think you're stupid, people. That's why they're spending millions of dollars on ads like these.
This reminds me of a discussion I had with, what was his name? The Godfather's Pizza.
Herman Cain.
Herman Cain. Before I ever went on KFAU, I mean, we're talking now, wow, 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. But anyway, Herman, when he talked about, he wrote the book, They Think You're Stupid.
Yeah.
And then I told him, you need to now come out. That had come out a year or two earlier. I said, but Herman, they're not listening. Your next book needs to be titled, And It Appears They're Right. And that's what this reminds me of.
Yeah.
That the low information voters.
Yeah.
You've got all these people reacting, and because some group or organization is pushing this.
Yeah.
And it's usually, I don't even call them far right. As I used to say on KFAQ, some people have gone so far right, they're left now.
Yeah.
And we've got those people right now that are doing this. And it's killing the Republican Party. It is killing. How many articles, how much news, how many things do you hear where they're attacking their candidates?
Yeah.
You don't hear.
Now, here's if the legislation that Mike supported on this said, and we are going to give you an exemption from all local zoning and pollution control laws, then I'd have a problem.
Yeah, sure.
But this had none of that.
No, right.
And here's the other thing you got to look at is the ulterior motives. If I'll just throw out a corporate poultry, Tyson Chicken, and I'm looking to expand more poultry poop in the watershed and all that, and I want farmland cheap. And now I got to compete with a aluminum smelting operation that I got a bidding war with them for farmland. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Then you got to look at, who is. See, this is my problem. Here's another thing. I won't go too far down the rabbit trail, but the big thing in a lot of these people is we got to stop the Chinese from buying our farmland. Well, you have to wonder, is it some competing ag outfit that doesn't like the competition?
Right.
Because if I'm, mom and pops and my kids don't want to farm and I want to get the best price for my land, I want to drive up the price.
Right. You want the best price. Where
Yeah.
the other guys are using the Chinese to keep it down.
Yes. Yeah. And now some of you are going to say, but that's foreigners owning our property. Okay. What about the snowbirds that live in Winnipeg, Manitoba, but want a winter home on Grand Lake? Are you saying they shouldn't be able to either? Because it's still foreigners owning property.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
You know, or are you against American companies, let's say Zebco or Quickset Lock? Those are two Oklahoma companies that now do most of their manufacturing offshore. Are you saying
Bama Pies?
Yeah, Bama Pie. Are you saying they shouldn't be able to buy factory property somewhere else? You know, it's
a NIMBY thing, not in my backyard.
Do you want free trade? Because you're actually hindering individual freedom when you do that.
And keeping jobs from being created.
One of the beautiful things happened in the Reagan years was foreign investment coming in the United States. And it just sparked prosperity like you wouldn't believe. Because foreigners were investing in America. Donald Trump is bragging about all the foreign investment, billions, millions, trillions of dollars now coming in, foreigners wanting to invest in our stock market and, you know, shares of companies. When they're publicly traded, then you've got partial foreign ownership of just about every American corporation.
It's funny you say that because this will kind of ease us into another discussion. But in my men's breakfast this morning, meeting with some certain...
He hobnobs with some pretty impressive people.
They just invited me to drink coffee. Anyway, it was brought up that one of the individuals saw Elon Musk's plane come into Tulsa yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. They know by the tail number. Now, they don't know if Elon himself was on the plane, but it was definitely his plane.
Yeah.
One of these, what a thing that Rush Limbaugh had, he always raved about this private jet. I can't
EIB-1 or something like that.
No. It's the brand in the something 6, some model 6. Anyway.
Okay.
But anyway, this Elon's flew in yesterday. And so it was interesting so we're wondering what Elon's planning possibly with this.
Yeah. And, you know, Jim Bridenstine's new company, satellite company, there might be something there. Now, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but when Jim Bridenstine, his stint as NASA administrator, he had to do some hard-nosed business with Elon. I mean, it was some shrewd business situations. I don't know on a personal level what their involvement with each other was, but business-wise, there had to be some shrewd negotiations.
Yeah. But so anyway, that happened. And then, but moving on from that, just remember, okay, these topics we've discussed, I don't want to have them go out of your mind real quick or anything, but our Starlink, the stock took off yesterday.
Well, SpaceX.
I'm sorry. So Starlink. Yeah, SpaceX.
Yeah.
And it was quite so. It made Elon Musk our first trillionaire.
Yes. It opened at 150, and by the end of the day, it was at 172. So if you're a day trader, it was a good time to...
Yeah, but usually you have a lock-in period.
Yeah.
You can't just, I mean, that would be nice because I don't know if you remember when the Trump stock went public, his website. What is it called?
True Social.
True Social. When True Social launched, it went up to, I think, $200 and some dollars. And now it's like $8, $9. And so those people, but they were locked in. They couldn't sell it. And so a lot of people... I'd say few people made any money on it, but anyway, the launch of a space.
Are we live? Yes, we are.
We are back.
Good.
Anyway, Elon launched the largest IPO in history of SpaceX. And it's funny because those are hard to get in on, something like that. I happened to stumble on a site and had some money there. And so I was able to get in on it.
You own SpaceX.
I own SpaceX.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't believe it. But anyway, but it was funny. So you put in a certain amount of money, and the price there was $135. You bought it in $135.
Really?
Yeah. IPO, it always starts in, and whatever it is, comes out at if it's a win.
Didn't it end at 170, 172?
Yeah. So anyway, but
you bought at 135.
Right.
You made a nice little.
Well, yeah, but the sad thing is, then you put in X amount of dollars, and it's not cheap,
Yeah.
They expect it at that, and so, but you've got to buy 10 shares, 20 shares, something like that. And anyway, and then they come back and tell you, okay, congratulations, you've been awarded so many shares. And I ended up with 1 share.
Yeah.
But it's 1 share. I put in, I wanted 10 shares, but they only gave me 1 share.
So they did.
Because there's a certain amount that now, once it hits, then you can buy more.
What do you mean hits?
Once it becomes public.
Which
the
it
launch,
did.
which, yeah, but see, the one.
Oh, you did a pre-order kind of thing?
I did it. Yeah, it's a pre-thing. Yeah. So it fixed in 2 weeks ago at 135.
Yeah.
And so then when it comes out, then, you can buy it. Anybody can buy it then.
Okay.
So in the end, it went down to 160 something. And I bought some more 160 and whatever. I think 163. So at the end of the day, I still made money even on that amount. But they're predicting it to eventually really
yeah,
go up.
You don't see Eddie at the casino. He does his on, whatever.
It's fun. It's better. And I don't have the fear. Robinhood's just one of them. I just happen to, and it's funny. It's one of the ones that I had least in, and they're the ones.
Schwab you like to use, right?
Yeah, Schwab. But Robinhood ended up being the one that got this. The others didn't have this insider trading. But it's kind of interesting. So after a while, like anything, I'm starting to figure this stuff out, and it's doing really well.
So Eddie doesn't do blackjack or craps; he does Robinhood and Schwab,
and a couple of others. Yeah.
And a couple others. Okay, he's got his secret indulgences. Yeah.
I don't know if they're secret or not, but they're indulgences. The only bad thing, it takes up, I'm sitting there watching it all day and everything, see what it does and the reading about the different things. It's a lot of fun. It's very interesting. And then, of course, Fox Business, to me, is one of the greatest because they'll tell you all of the things that are coming up and you'll listen to people and eventually you can figure out what's what, and what's not.
Yeah. No, some of them, are just straight up politics talk, but some of them are really good strategy talk. Who do you find to get the best strategy from?
I like Fox. If you watch.
No, I'm talking about what shows.
Oh, I watch Maria Bartiromo in the morning.
Bartiromo. She actually gets into the weeds.
Right. And then, because she'll have the people involved in all these. There's a new site. I can't think of the name right now. There's a few of them. And what you can do is automatic trading, and you put a certain amount in. I think the minimum is $500.
Yeah.
And they will take that $500, and then you can choose which. There's different groups. Yeah. And then you pick the one you want, and then you take your hands off, and they will automatically trade for you.
Okay.
And, you can grow 10% in a week, in a day sometimes, in a month. You take 10% a week, that's 40% a month.
And you can lose money too.
Yeah, you can, but the stock market it's different from gambling or whatever.
Yeah.
Because people are, well, for one thing now, I don't know if you know, but they'll shut trading down.
Yeah.
If it drops too much across the board, then they'll shut it down. So nobody, you're kind of locked in.
Right. Yeah. And really, the casino, it's set up so the house wins.
Right.
Right. And this isn't set up that way. No,
and that's actually an interesting point, though, because you're actually betting on the house. So you're with the house.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So the house is not trying to.
Okay. So the casino analogy doesn't really work.
No, it's almost the worst because you're actually with the house. As the casino succeeds, you succeed.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the people running the New York Stock Exchange, they want those businesses to do well.
Right.
It's not in their best interest for them to fail. Let me ask this, because one of the very prominent and well-known people on CNBC reports from the Chicago Mercantile Board.
Yeah. What's his name? He started the whole revolution.
The Tea Party, you might say.
Yeah, right.
And that. But you don't mess in commodities, do you?
No. No, I'll tell you what kind of influenced me on commodities. The movie Trading Places. Is it Trading Places? The Eddie Murphy movie?
Yes.
Remember?
Yes, I love that one.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
I'm healed. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, Rick Santelli is who we were talking about.
Rick Santelli, yeah.
And you get a lot of good overall financial info from him.
Yeah, Rick is really great. See, CNBC is almost like the non-NBC. They're kind of counter to culture.
Especially Santelli.
Yeah, Santelli. And there's another guy, I can't remember his name.
Phil LeBeau?
No. I cannot remember his name. Anyway,
on CNBC.
On CNBC, if you find the different morning hosts.
Yeah, I was just looking at their Chicago people because, Santelli's there.
Yeah, the
most
Chicago
of it's
Board of Trade, yeah.
Most of CNBC is in New York.
Yeah, it's a different market. They do.
Yeah, because you got the Squawk Box with Joe Kernan, Betsy Quick, Andrew Ross.
Joe Kernan. Yeah. He's the pro-Trump Republican guy on there. He and Santelli. I don't really know what Santelli is. Santelli is just against nonsense.
He's a populist.
Yeah.
And a no-nonsense guy when it comes, especially when the whole mortgage thing collapsed.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, they were basically, especially what brought about the Tea Party was the whole thing of if they haven't been paying their mortgages, letting them kind of rewrite a new mortgage for whatever they think the house is worth, And he just said, nuts, we're rewarding irresponsibility.
But you know who was behind all that? Maxine Waters.
Oh,
yeah. She was the one that basically cajoled Bush into that whole, and she was just raving about. That's when that whole thing first started back with Bush when he was doing. It was
right at the end. Mortgage. Yeah, because the crash of 2008, Bush was still there for a few more months.
Right.
Yeah,
but it was set up prior to that.
Yeah.
It was set up because of the policies that he allowed.
Yeah.
And he thought he was doing people a favor by making essentially these no risk on the individual's side.
Well, one of my longtime clients who was vice president of a bank, and he was head of the Oklahoma Home Builder Association. He was a developer of neighborhoods. And I'll just say his name, Rex Alexander. He told me 2 years ahead of time, there's going to be a crash in mortgage industry. And he says, it's both the Democrats in the Senate and Bush together, G.W. Bush, because they want to drive up home ownership from the historic 62% up to 70%. He says, now that's actually a 10% increase. 1 in 10 mortgage owners shouldn't have a mortgage.
Right.
And he said a 10% failure will destroy the mortgage industry.
And it did.
The margins are that tight that it cannot handle a 10%. He says, now credit card failure rate, they're set up, but they're charging 28% interest. He said, no, he says, especially because it was at a time when interest rates were like under 5%, and so he said, it's coming. And he got his money out of that, and, the people in the know didn't suffer. It's the average Joe who didn't know better, didn't have the inside information. It's just like he told me then later, when we were getting out of COVID, he says, interest rates going to go nuts. He says, inflation's going to go nuts. He says all that. He says, and the people in Wall Street are getting their money out of Wall Street and they're putting it into real estate because real estate's the best hedge against inflation. And that's where you saw all of these, the BlackRocks and that buying up all the houses. And that just drove up the prices even higher so that the young families trying to get their first house are competing against BlackRock.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, the worst thing about that is what you've got now is all of these commercial residential owners that are renting out the properties and jacking up the price a lot. But the people who are renting, they don't have any real guidelines, and so you get people, cars parked on the grass.
Oh, it's horrible.
If your covenants aren't strong and your association is weak, your neighborhood's going to go to pot.
Well, and here's the problem. Now, I'm going to step into this. I am disgusted with the Tulsa Police Department. And I know the risks I take by publicly exposing this. Because I have called on cars, junked cars with no engine in them, no hood on them, that have been sitting in my neighborhood, middle of a cul-de-sac, for 2 years. And the cops won't do anything about it. Called them out several times. Okay, restrictive covenants, Eddie, that's a problem because you've got to lawyer up and take them to small claims court. And even if you win, how do you collect?
Well,
from a renter?
Well, yeah, but covenants, for example, the covenant should be written that this is private ownership property. That you can't rent out the place. That's what the covenant is. If you write them properly, there's an area between 101st and 111th off of Memorial.
Yeah.
And that's the most restrictive covenants I've ever seen. You're not allowed to park a car overnight on the street.
I understand.
You're not. So it's how the covenants are drawn up.
Right.
That hold. But you're right. What happens?
Yeah, but most of us live in neighborhoods that the covenants were written half a century ago.
And were never updated and revoted, and the people just ignored it. Once you ignore it once or twice, you're done. Because after that, they'll come back on you and say, well, you made an exception here and here. And, for example, I still remember, this was back in the early 90s. We put a satellite dish on our roof where the covenant said you can't have a satellite dish.
Any external antennas, I believe was the term.
Well, this one was actually more satellite dishes because people did have the, like a ham radio or this.
Yeah, mine said no external antennas.
Okay, well, this one was a dish deal. Well, we had a little, you couldn't even see it. It was on our patio in the backyard. It was written to keep the gigantic, remember the early satellite?
Oh, yeah.
dishes were
8-foot diameter.
Yeah, it was like NORAD disc.
Yeah,
or something.
when I moved to my neighborhood, we had one of those 8-footers right out at the front curb.
They couldn't put it in the back. They have it right out front.
Well, you got to be aiming at certain.
No, I know, but it's just, I'm just saying. But because they didn't feel that it was important enough, then you start seeing a few more.
Actually,
eventually
court rulings that for public safety and being able to get information, they couldn't keep you from having an antenna. That was mine.
Yeah, that's probably.
Because I needed to be able to pick up, Travis storm coverage, when the tornado, where it's coming, things like that.
But like I said,
and so it was judges that overruled that public safety.
Right. But the dish is something different. In other words, you can have your antennas, but there was no public safety deal because back then everybody.
Mine just said no external antennas.
Okay.
which is satellite antenna. A dish is a satellite antenna.
Well, ours said satellite dish.
Yeah.
Okay. And so anyway, it was just funny. And then afterwards, I started seeing dishes more and more, but the covenants are blown then.
Well, another thing, if your restrictive covenant says your roof material must be either wood or clay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now you're stuck. If it said wood,
Right.
then the fire safety thing kicked in and court said, no, that's a safety hazard.
Yeah,
fire
that's
hazard.
right. Because I remember when I started with farmers back in the early 90s, we had wood roofs, and then around 2000, all of a sudden they started banning wood roof. We wouldn't insure wood roofs.
Yeah.
And slowly, and it really killed a lot of us because, we had nice big houses with the wooden roofs were generally on the expensive houses.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger houses. And that really killed things. So everybody went somewhere else.
Yeah. No, I was talking to president of Forest Park South, very prominent neighborhood. Because I said, hey, I'm now seeing, these fiberglass shingles. And he says, yeah. He says, here's how we did it. And he stepped through everything. He says, because ours said clay, slate, or wood. And so we had to actually put an addendum there that allowed a certain class of, the fiberglass shingle that looks like slate from a distance. And so now there's kind of a review board that you go to, and they wrote it in their covenant. But it's a hassle amending restrictive covenants. And here's the thing, it's still a civil process.
Yeah.
So when I was president of my homeowners association, we just simply studied the city ordinances and the codes, and anything that the city would do, we'd call them and let them take the heat and enforce it, and that's really what we did. And then we left it up to the individual homeowners. You got a problem with your next door neighbor on that, you take them to court.
Yeah. No, which makes sense. It's true. Did we talk about the Drummond and Texas Tech on the air?
Not yet. No, I think we need to go to the Drummond issue next.
Yeah.
Yes, folks, we did go on a rabbit trail.
Yeah. So I specifically wore this shirt today.
Okay. Now, is the Drummond issue a Texas Tech deal, or are these two separate?
No, it's the same deal.
Oh, Drummond stepping in.
Oh, you didn't know? Okay.
All right.
So here's what's happened. Texas Tech recruited and stole this
a gambling
quarterback.
addict.
Well, it turned out he was a gambling addict who had been at Indiana University. That's where he started. Then he went to Cincinnati.
The Bearcats.
And then just this year, Texas Tech won the battle with LSU over him.
Yeah.
Because everybody thought he was going to LSU, but he goes to Texas Tech.
The oil money.
Right. And
Cody Campbell.
But we can't have that.
No.
Because, this West Texas, Hick place.
Oh, listen to you. Now you're going and persecuting us poor oil people.
Well,
okay.
It was actually cattle. So anyway, so now all of a sudden we find out this guy had a gambling problem. It wasn't Tech didn't know about it. Texas Tech did not know about his gambling issue until it came to light.
Oh, the Venmo thing a year ago, that he had gambling debts, but that's all we knew, was some kind of gambling that he self-reported to Venmo in the notes on a payoff.
Right, but I think that was in February. I think it was still this year.
Yeah, it was some time back, but
right.
Yeah, not too far back.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But we recruited him in December or somewhere before that. So it comes out that this guy has a gambling addiction, a big problem. And so Tech, of course, limits him from all participation, so forth and so on, and it becomes big news around the country. So he had money because he's getting NIL money. He had NIL money from Indiana, from Cincinnati, and then he knew NIL money from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
So, but all of a sudden, he hires a lawyer. Oh, it comes to light that he has been gambling on college sports. and he bet on his own team, not Texas Tech, of course, because it was off season, but he bet on Cincinnati, but only for them to win.
They didn't have a good year, did they?
Oh, they started out with a good year, and then towards the end of the year, they started losing. So, in fact, that's probably what got some people thinking, made him suspicious. Was he throwing games or whatever? But not if he was betting on his team. So I don't know.
Okay, so this guy hasn't played it down for Texas Tech.
He has not played it down, and Texas Tech is not involved in his legal process. It's him and his lawyer. He got good lawyers, and he's so now a judge has suspended any punitive action against him. In other, which the punitive action was the Big 12 came in, NCAA's come in and said he's ineligible to play because he gambled.
Yeah.
And so let me finish and then you hold your. So they basically have come in and said he can't play. So he's taken him to court, and now a judge has said, I'm going to remove the injunction.
Yeah, clarify that. An injunction means before we settle the case, is somebody grounded until the end of, they say you can't ground him because there will be irreparable harm caused.
Exactly.
The problem is either way, there's irreparable harm.
Yeah, sure there is. But anyway, so they basically, the judge said that they can't do it until it goes through a court case. The problem is that the court case that they've said doesn't come up until February of next year.
That's the civil courts. It's dragging your feet. It takes years to resolve them.
Tech somehow, I don't know if they did on their own or whatever. He suspended the first 2 games of the year. Well, the first 2 games of the year, the throwaway games.
Yes, those are, when you're playing, TU.
Right.
Sorry,
that's just wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Just to make up some.
Yes, Arkansas Little Rock.
New Mexico School for the Blind. Just go there, because that way you don't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But anyway,
the blind people, let's pick on them. But yeah, you're right.
So anyway, so this
some
is going
NAIA school.
So anyway, so now you got different schools jumping in, getting upset, getting mad, and it's interesting that a lot of the big schools are strangely quiet. Well, people in glass houses don't throw stones. Okay?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, what I read on because it was
Nebraska. Nebraska has been the most.
I think Utah said something about it too. I read on ESPN.
I don't recall seeing Utah's name, but if Utah did it, maybe.
And Brent Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, was really ticked off about this.
Right, but he's not. Yeah, but so what's happened though? Here's the problem: they can't do anything. Their bylaws say essentially they can't do anything.
I know,
but there's somebody else that decides they're going to stick their neck out and chime in on it. And that is
Gentner Drummond.
Here
I come to save the day.
So Gentner Drummond, who basically, did he go to OSU?
I don't know.
Or did he go to, why don't you look that up real quick? Did Gentner Drummond go to OSU or OU, or where did he go to school?
Let me just.
In any event, he now has told the Big 12 that they do have a right to sue and they could stop this or whatever.
Hold on. Where did Gentner Drummond go to law school?
Or college? Where did he go to school? Period. Ask it when that comes back then. In any event, so Gentner Drummond has now jumped into this saying they must ban Texas Tech from playing in the Big 12 next year because of this. I'm sorry. I don't only support my university because it has become personal to me, but I support the whole idea behind it, okay? Many years ago, we've talked about this. there was a young man named Tim Gill who
Yeah.
played at Victory Christian High School.
Yep.
And he wanted to leave. He somehow decided God told him to go to TU.
No, it's Arkansas.
No, God told him to go. ORU. God told him.
Right. Because he went to Victory for high school right across the street.
Right.
Yeah.
If you'll let me
Okay.
tell the story.
Okay.
So I was in the stands saying, no, God didn't tell you. That was oral. And Billy Joe telling you that.
Yeah.
But anyway, my wife was,
Oh.
she was, but anyway, so Tim goes to ORU.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tim was one of the best players this town has ever produced.
Phenomenal.
So Tim and this guy, Rocky, I can't remember his last name, decided the school is not going anywhere. So he was going to go play at Arkansas for Nolan Richardson. The other kid Rocky was going to go play for Southern Illinois. So what happened, the ORU coach at the time, Bill Self.
Rocky Walls.
So Bill Self was still the coach, and Bill Self said, no, we're not letting them go. They can't go. ORU says we're not letting them go. Nobody in the newspapers, the Tulsa World just shredded these kids. I mean, they're ungrateful. They're this, they're that. I mean,
Right.
they came up.
And Nolan Richardson said, don't come here.
Well, that was later.
Okay.
Eventually. But so what happened, no, Nolan wanted him. But after months of this going on, Nolan finally said, guys, you're not going to win this battle. You might as well give in because the community hates you, coaches and everybody. So you're not winning this battle. So they recanted and decided, okay, we're going to stay. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, Bill Self gets a multi-million-dollar deal.
But you got to say what Bill Self did to punish him first. He made him apologize. He just run through the mud. I mean, he made an open example of him.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. TU did that. I mean, the Tulsa World did that, and Bill Self was behind it. Yeah, that I understand.
But when they came back, he humiliated them publicly.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. But anyway, 2 weeks later, it may have been 1 week later, oh, happy day, says the Tulsa World, channel 2, 6, 9, 23, all of them. Oh, what a wonderful deal. Bill Self is going now to TU.
Yeah.
Oral Roberts, the university, got $2 million so they could pay off their debts on the Cityplex and all this other stuff.
Well, they have to pay off the contract. If he's under contract, to break that contract, you have to pay off.
There is no contract in college. Back then,
coaches? Oh, yes, there is.
Oh, well, yeah, that. But it was beyond his normal contract. The $2 million, it was much more than $2 million. He wasn't getting $2 million at ORU. I mean, put that way. And then he was going from whatever, so many 100,000. I think they were going to pay him $1 million a year. So, but nevertheless, the bottom line is, they held these kids hostage saying, you can't go. But the coach, boom, he's gone. And everybody singing praises. They were calling them traitors 2 weeks ago because they were going to leave this school. Now, all of a sudden, he's a hero. The kids are goats. They get a coach. Tim injures himself, never gets to play in the NBA, although he could have. Everybody I've ever talked to in town or out of town says he's one of the best guards we've ever seen. He would have definitely done well in the NBA. Ruin him. And so anyway, but this smacks of the same stuff that they're trying to now dictate who gets to do what. Yeah. And with this whole deal with this guy. And it's a private matter. The guy is dealing with it over here. The school is staying out of it. Texas Tech is staying out of it. They're letting the legal process go through. They're the ones, Tech, when they discovered it, they sent him to rehab. They put him into this rehab thing for several months to help. And now his phones are set up to where he can't. Now, I wonder, all he has to do is get him another phone or a laptop or something. But they've got his phones now with some device in it that won't let him go to certain sites. He can't go to these sites or whatever. So that's what's going on. But it really ticks me off that you talk about politicizing something here. What I think, did you find out what university he went to?
Yeah, Gentner Drummond, he did go to OSU for an ag degree, and then he went to Georgetown for law school.
Okay, so OSU, okay. So, because this is what I was going to say. OSU, their new head coach.
Yeah. Who has to compete against Texas Tech.
And he played for Texas Tech. He was on Mike.
That's right.
He was a Mike Leach guy. And I wish he had the nerve. I know it's a big step, but to say, if you're going to play this game, I resign from OSU. I'm not going to coach at a school where this guy's going to step out there and try to get involved in something that he has no business getting involved in.
Who are you referring to here?
The new coach. I can't think of it.
Okay, so
he was a receiver under Leach. He played back with Cody Campbell.
Right. And he most recently was North Texas.
North Texas, right, is where he coached.
Took him to a bowl game.
Took him, and he's everybody, a lot of people wanted him. He ends up choosing OSU. But he should say, if this guy is going to get involved in those kind of things, I'm out of here.
So get this. This guy, North Texas, if he would have won the next game, he would have made the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
That high caliber.
Game. Oh yeah, no, and for North Texas, that's quite sensitive.
They were like NAIA school 10 years ago.
Right.
They just, they have grown so fast, especially in athletics. But here's what I want to get at, Eddie.
Yeah. So anyway, but to make sure, you've got people involved in this, and you can see clearly, it's a biased opinion. It's a biased thing that they're doing. You've allowed Big Ten, SEC, and other schools, including Big 12 teams, to do things for years, and they pick on certain things. One other thing.
I want to know what Gentner has to do with this. I didn't.
But that's the thing. No, he is the one who is now trying to consult the Big 12 and the people in Texas to sanction Texas Tech. He's jumped into this thing, giving them advice, telling them, you've got to go after these guys and ban Texas Tech from playing, period. Kill their whole season. Are you kidding me? He's in a fight because Texas will revolt. If you're going to have a revolt.
Are you now rescinding your endorsement of Gentner Drummond? Because, to Gentner, this was probably a brilliant move.
Oh, sure.
Because how many Texas Tech fans are there, Republicans?
As opposed to OSU fans.
Or any of them, because it doesn't matter if you're Big 12. OU shouldn't want this from a competitive standpoint. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. So far, at least from what I understand, what I've heard, OU, I have not heard chime in on this at all.
Okay.
So, which I respect. They need to, everybody needs to stay out of this. This is a Big 12 issue, NCAA issue, not your school. Okay.
No, a bunch of SEC schools are talking about it. I saw several. I thought I saw Arkansas. Not Arkansas, Alabama.
I don't think I saw Alabama.
Okay, ESPN covered it. The next morning, I read about it after it came out that this judge said, no, you can't punish him until you make a final ruling, on it. Here's what I want to talk about, Eddie. Let's use as an example what happened with Reggie Bush getting paid off to play at USC, winning the Heisman. Did they win the national championship that year, USC?
No, I think maybe they. Yeah, that is the year. That's the year. Yeah, right.
So what happened? Reggie goes off to the NFL, gets this great deal. I think he was number 1 draft pick, right? I think went to New Orleans right away. Or did he go somewhere?
I don't remember.
But Pete Carroll, the coach at USC, leaves there and goes to NFL, I think Seattle Seahawks. Okay. Now, who's responsible to enforce the rules on an athlete? That school's football growing, the point man being the head coach, right?
Right.
Reggie Bush is cheating. not only is Pete Carroll not holding him accountable, he's probably in on it because it was Reggie Bush was getting paid in a way that wasn't allowed at the time.
That's what gets me, the hypocrisy.
I know, but let's try to hold off on that and just say,
okay, yeah, at the time that was the rules. Reggie Bush and his parents were living in $100,000.
They're breaking a rule that everybody else is supposed to follow and is getting punished for following the rules.
Right.
Because when you don't punish the lawbreaker, you are punishing the people who are being honest and law-abiding. That's what's going on. So did Reggie Bush get punished? No. Other than the New York Athletic Club
took his Heisman away.
They're the ones awarded the Heisman. They have no responsibility to do anything. They just said, we regret honoring him in light of what we now know.
I think somebody took his Heisman away.
That's who issues it, the New York Athletic Club.
All right.
It's a private club. Right. So other than that, did the NCAA do anything? No. Did his school do anything to punish him? No. Did Pete Carroll get punished? No. This is the problem, is in that situation, USC did get sanctioned because they were the ones who hosted the violation of the crime.
All right. But here's something to think about. Mm-hmm. Texas Tech never played him.
That's where I'm going next. Okay. You're right there with me. Where did these violations occur? We know at the University of Cincinnati, a Big 12 club.
And possibly even Indiana.
Possibly, we don't know yet.
No, we don't know.
But should Cincinnati be punished? Yes. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, should Reggie Bush have been punished? Should Pete Carroll have been punished? I say yes. They just didn't have the teeth. The NCAA didn't have the teeth to punish him. I think they wanted to, and they should have wanted to.
But see, that's one of the things that bothers me, the hypocrisy and selective outrage, because, for example, my son, Michael, used to be the director of operations for Georgia Tech football. Mm-hmm. And they had a guy, they call him Baby. I can't remember his full name. He ended up playing, he was a receiver for Denver, the Broncos. Mm-hmm. Great receiver, all pro and everything. And somebody gave some company that makes warm-ups. Mm-hmm. They just sent in a warm-up. We want him, if he will wear these warm-ups so they could use it. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm not wearing. He hung them up and never did anything with them. Mm-hmm. When the season was over and he's gone, gone mm-hmm. on, that warm-up was still hanging there in that locker. Mm-hmm. The NCAA came in at the time and sanctioned Georgia Tech for him getting this thing that he never accepted, never wore.
Yeah.
And so the selectiveness of their punishments is what I have a problem with. And I guarantee you there's other players that have been gambling, cheating, this and this and this. And it depends. I believe it depends on the school that this player goes to that they are willing to punish.
Let me just briefly address your Texas Tech analogy, but then I want to get back to the thing in this. The problem is the NCAA is judge, jury, and executioner. And if Georgia Tech had filed a lawsuit and had an outside mediator, I think they would have been vindicated on the warm-up controversy. Now, let's go back to this. Again, do you believe that a Pete Carroll and a Reggie Bush should get some kind of punishment for the violation?
Based on the rules at that time, yes.
Yeah, okay. That's important. I'm glad you said that.
Right.
So here's the thing. I do believe this going forward, that the Texas Techs of the world, all the schools, are going to look at when they recruit a transfer, they got to do a really good job of thoroughly vetting them.
Right.
Because what Texas Tech is saying, why should we be punished for another school's crimes?
Yeah, that's a good. I hadn't even thought of that. That is really a good point. That's
true. And I agree there. The school, as much as possible, Texas Tech, should not be made to be punished for what Cincinnati violated.
Right.
But should this athlete face consequences for his repeated violations? That's the thing. How do you do that without punishing Texas Tech? It's a conundrum, isn't it?
Yeah, but see, here's another one. This is going to directly affect you.
Mm-hmm.
If the gambling addiction is a mental disorder,
mm-hmm.
okay, and do we treat it as a criminal offense, or do we look at it as a sickness that the person needs to be healed from?
Wow. See, this is totally role reversal.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at it. I'm honestly trying to look at it from all sides. And I could see it. For example, I felt that they need to give Reggie Bush his Heisman back after NIL money. Whatever he was getting is chump change compared.
Well, and Eric Dickerson, too. Remember the famous SMU?
That was the death penalty. Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah, they need to make up to the school. But and then you look at, what's it, Arch Manning, $10 million a year he's making playing. No wonder he doesn't leave early. He's making $10 million a year, which is more than he would make in his rookie year in the NFL.
Well, yeah, because you look at what Brock Purdy's not making $900,000 winning Super Bowls.
Yeah,
but no, this is a tough deal.
Yeah,
and
no, I agree, it's a tough deal. I'm just saying, what bothers me is people aren't looking at Brendan Sorsby, the quarterback. It's become a school thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking at punishing Texas Tech, and Texas Tech hasn't done anything but try to help this guy rehab.
And I don't think there's been enough emphasis in the news coverage to say Texas Tech did not partake in anything.
We haven't violated anything.
Right. And so that needs to be said. And I think, I don't know how to properly adjudicate it unless you said, you know what? The kid sits out a year, but he doesn't lose a year of eligibility, for instance.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem. The kid's ready to go to he could have gone to the NFL this year.
Yeah.
He was ready. And he was the number one rated quarterback in the country, okay?
Well, the number one returning quarterback.
Right. Well, yeah, he was behind he was the number one returning quarterback, and everybody was already looking at him for the NFL next year. He could have gone to the NFL this year.
Yeah.
And who knows, he might have been better than the guy who was drafted number one, because you know how those draft choices there's a difference in the NFL and NCAA, and it doesn't always transfer.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know. But he could have gone in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, but he decided, no, I'm going to go ahead because this school sent me to rehab. They helped me, He decided, he bypassed the final opportunity to go to the NFL. See, they had a supplemental draft here about a month ago or so where he could have still gone. But he decided, no, I'm going to stay and I'm going to go through this rehab. I'm going to do this and I want to play one more year of college football. So it's not the crime, it's the punishment, the way that people are looking at it. And they're not looking at it objectively. People are not looking at this objectively because you've got a school, Texas Tech, who has not done anything outside of the rules.
Yeah.
But you've got a conference of other people and people outside of the conference who are all outraged because it looks like they're getting away with it, but they're not getting away with anything.
Yeah. I think what we got to do is try to find case history precedent of other athletes that have had this deep of a gambling addiction history. And you've got to be consistent with your precedent on it. We do have to get to another, what all this NIL money is coming from Gambling.
Yeah.
Right.
See, that's the other issue
But,
we
but,
haven't
but
got
I'm
to
not
yet.
there yet.
Okay.
The first 2 games that Texas Tech said, we are going to self-punish here, this player.
Yeah. I know where you're headed.
Is Abilene Christian.
Emily, what?
Okay.
No, ACU is.
I know. Texas has really got some great football depth, right?
Yeah.
And then they're playing Oregon State, kind of that leftover nobody wanted from the Pac-12.
Okay, right.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, those should not be tough challenges for Texas Tech.
Yeah, you would hope.
I would argue, if I'm head coach, do I even start this prime quarterback and risk him getting injured?
Even if he weren't on suspension.
Or do I take these backups and give them some valuable playing time?
Right.
So that they are ready to jump in.
See, the thing is, this quarterback the backup quarterback now, he was a sophomore. I think he's coming, freshman or sophomore, coming back.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good quarterback. See, people don't, what is it? You'll regret what you wish for. What's the, you'll be sorry for what you wish for.
Yeah.
They may be sorry for what they wished for if they start this other kid and he's developed that much and he's been working with Sorsby all spring.
Yeah.
You could be fake because that kid can throw and he can run. Well, James Sorsby, that's the big thing. Sorsby can run.
Okay.
So these people, there's a part of me that wants to say, okay, let them win, let them have it, and then have these other kids just come play lights out and just annihilate the whole league and everything go all the way. So bottom line, what made Tech who they were this year was the defense anyway. And that's what's making people mad because, again, this year they brought in all of these transfers through NIL. They brought in all of these new transfers.
Yeah, because nobody's got money like Texas Tech.
Exactly. Or at least not willing to throw it out there like they are.
Yeah.
But anyway, they brought in these new defensive players, already preseason All-American guys that have filled the holes that they left.
Yeah.
So people aren't. It's funny what sports can do to you, how it can make you so hypocritical.
It's so bad that Donald Trump has gotten in the middle of it. He had this big panel at the White House. Cody Campbell was there. Right. They listened to Cody. You know what? Penn State announced they lost $50 million in their athletic program just trying to keep up with the other schools in NIL. I thought, what's the guy's name? Supposed to be a Fisher. No, not Fisher. He just did a short stint at Texas A&M and got fired. Supposed to be this brilliant coach. I forget his name. But anyway, he said, you've got 2 sources of NIL. There's that which the school runs, and then there's the outside money. The Libby Dunn, stuff outside endorsements for, selling car insurance or whatever, makeup or a clothing line.
Gatorade.
And he says, you know what? Let them do those outside deals. Mm-hmm. Let's just cap what the schools are involved in, where the schools aren't running in debt. But he says this is un-American to not let a guy sign his own outside deals.
Yeah, no, it's funny that back.
Hey, go. Talk to him, man. Let me take this.
Okay, all right. I'm going to tell you everything that Dave didn't tell you. Joking, but no. Going back to the Tim Gill deal, and how this. I wrote an article to the Tulsa World. I may have talked about it before. And it was written, "The Student Athlete, the Last Slave Class in America." And because at that time, players were in bondage to a coach. And in that article, basically what I said was, I'm against it, but the day is coming when the athlete will rule. And that day is here now, because the athletes now can leave at a whim. They can leave every year, jump to another school for the highest bidder or whatever. And so things have totally turned around. It's things like before where the coaches were able to leave and do whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, while the student athlete was locked in. So we're at that point. Now it's just gotten to the point, however, where like anything, well, let me say this too, first of all. I think what you're running into, you've got a lot of schools that used to be able to rule because they, under the table, were able to pay players, or they were able to offer more of this or that. And so that you had this elite class of schools. You take your Alabamas, your Georgias, your Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia, in different sports, Michigan State in basketball, Michigan in football, USC, UCLA, Oregon with the Nike money. So you have all of these schools in the different conferences that were able to basically wow these kids with money and benefits. Now all of a sudden you're getting also rans. You get a school like Texas Tech because they have an alumnus who's a former player, loves the program, and has been ready to invest millions of dollars into it. I think it was $50-some million that he's given to the athletic program, specifically as NIL money. Another thing, I'll jump.
No, better than that. He's recruited a whole bunch of his buddies too as well.
Well, yeah. Well, but beyond football, something else I will discuss, and that's in softball.
Yeah.
There's this softball pitcher, a young lady.
Yeah.
Candidate.
Shamara Candidate. From Topeka, Kansas.
Right. And she was recruited by Pat Mahomes and Cody Campbell's money. Mm-hmm. And she was the highest female player, paid player. She's a $1.3 million to pitch softball. So all of a sudden, because Texas Tech can compete financially for their best athletes, all legally, now all of a sudden they're being criticized and everybody hates them because they're not supposed to be that good. Well, I'm sorry. The only reason the other schools were good in the past was because of the money they had, some under the table, some not. Mm-hmm. I remember on ABC, one of the football games years ago, and they brought Barry Switzer in, mm-hmm. the announcers. Oh, we're here with Coach Switzer and da-da-da. And Barry, and they were raving about Bob Stoops, how good at jobs. And Barry, I think his pride was a little because he always thought he's the greatest coach at OU in OU history. Mm-hmm. And so he says, well, shoot, if it weren't for all the raping, cutting and shooting, I'd still be coaching today. He had discipline issues with his people. Yeah. That's what took him down. Right. Because it was cutting, raping, gambling, and shooting. Yeah. He would still be coach. Yeah. So he at least came out with it saying that was going on while he was there, and they finally got caught and had to quit. Yeah, and Barry had a lot more constraints. He complained. He says, you got to give these kids a stipend. He says they're literally washing their laundry in the dormitory sink because they can't afford quarters for the laundry machine. Ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I agree. And so he just says, let's just have a stipend. Now, that issue came up at the White House. What if we just flat out capped the school NIL at $10,000? Well, if you can't make it through a school year with $10,000 in personal money. Here's the problem. You're going to go back to the old system of paying players under the table. So let's say you're in, Michigan is in a battle with Alabama or Ohio State over Jack Simpson, okay? Mm-hmm. And you're both limited to $10 million. Ohio State decides they're going to under the table give them another $5 million. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, what are you going to do? The kid takes the money and you're back to where you were, violating it secretly, quietly, underhandedly, in whatever way somebody concocts something. Yeah. And, somebody say, okay, we're going to take this extra $5 million, we're going to put it in annuity over here. Yeah. That can be transferred to you. But see, and it was Jimbo Fisher that mentioned, he says,
cap what the schools are involved in their NIL funds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we limit that. But he said, don't stop athletes from being able to do outside endorsement gigs and earn that. I think if you had those two factors, then you're concerned about the black market stuff. I think you're mitigating that.
But you give an advantage at that point to the schools on the coasts. Because the market, or
the media market,
So,
yes.
So Dallas, LA,
I get
Houston
that.
are going to.
I don't know how you fix that.
No, you don't. Well, I hate to say it, it's capitalism. What the market will bear.
It's free market.
It's a free market, and if Texas Tech, see, here's the thing. I guarantee you, at heart of all of this whole Texas Tech issue is the people that think they don't deserve to be able to do this. They're just Texas Tech. They're just Oklahoma State. They're just
See, and it always used to be the other way. You know, my Minnesota Twins growing up, I could go to a Twins game at the Hubert Humphrey Metrodome. Sure, I'm in the left field, but it's a $6 seat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you couldn't go to Yankee Stadium on $6 or even Wrigley Field.
Right. What's the difference between Yankees
and so you're a little bit jealous of that. And then when you lose all your best players, Frank Viola, Butch Weiniger, all these people, because you've essentially become a farm club for the Yankees and the California Angels. Rod Carew went to the Angels because it's your franchise isn't generating enough revenue to compete. And that's just, I don't know how you fix that, because you really don't want socialism to be the answer.
No, right. But see, things have changed. Today, I'd say Minneapolis can compete with anybody in the country. It used to be Dallas wasn't seen that way. In fact, Kansas City used to be the Dallas, whatever they were, and then they moved them to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the Cowboys came along and took over.
Expansion team club.
So Dallas was not always Dallas. They just worked their way into Dallas. And of course, the city grew. But the way the things, at least, see, I like the way the NFL does it. They have it set up to where the teams get a certain amount of profit sharing.
It's a socialism of sorts.
From the television revenues. That I think is fair. But when it goes to the individuals, then it's what the market will bear. So
I'm just saying, the Twins back in, I forget what year it was, the Major League Baseball was about to shut down that franchise. Them and one others, I forget who it was, Toronto Blue Jays, I think. They just weren't, they were dragging it down. Mm-hmm. And then they end up winning their division.
Well,
shut that down.
Look what's happening with the Bears. The Bears are moving across. They're still going to be the Chicago Bears in Indiana. It's like the New York Giants and New York Jets that play in New Jersey.
Right.
So the Giants, the Bears are going to play in Indiana. Mm-hmm. But they're going to be the Chicago Bears.
Yeah,
it's crazy, but it's because they've gotten sick and tired of the craziness of Chicago,
right?
The government there.
Yeah, all kinds of things. In fact, I remember listening to a guy with the Buffalo Bills. He says, "We're the only New York team that plays in New York."
That's true. That's true. It's crazy. Anyway, getting back to
by the way, this phone call, it was Steve Bias, Oklahoma Constitution.
Oh.
And I'm trying to book him to come in maybe after the primaries, get his perspective. This is kind of like the historian of the Republican Party in Oklahoma. Great guy.
Right.
So, and plus, I'm wanting you two to make up and be friends again, because you went after him on Facebook one time too hard. He had to call me. He says, "Dave, what's with Eddie Huff? He is really ragging on me."
Poor baby. I'm sorry.
No, he's a great guy. You would be thrilled.
No, I agree. I think so. But that's me. That's how we met. I went after you like you hit my mother or something, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. No.
Well, anyway, so this is my thing is how do we hold a player for his accountability? And I don't know how you do that, you know.
Well, here's a deeper issue to me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you and I are probably going to switch places again, okay?
Yeah, you talked about it's an illness.
Right. What if it's not an illness? What if he just likes to gamble?
Well, you're responsible for the harms that your behavior do, illness or not. Okay. I mean, we had Judge LaFortune in here a couple months ago and talked about a case of a young man in his derangement killed his mother. And Judge LaFortune had to handle that. Just the fact that you say not guilty by reason of, mental illness doesn't mean he runs off scot-free. He's basically on probation for life now. And it did include forced internment for quite some time. And now the state basically is always going to be looking over his shoulder.
Okay.
So that's
okay. But
there is, even with mental illness, there's still the proper oversight.
Oh yeah, right. In my opinion, Texas Tech is trying to give the proper oversight.
Yeah,
they put him through this rehab. They're monitoring. He can't do anything on his own and so forth.
Yeah,
they're, but. The NCAA. See, here's what bothers me. Okay, let's get to the bottom line. I think the outrage is subjective. I think all these teams, all these people, the ESPN writers, of course.
No, I agree. They have ulterior motives.
They have ulterior motives
for their plain righteousness on this.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so how do you balance the two?
Okay.
To get the kid help?
Anybody victimized needs to be made whole. Now, in this case, we don't seem to have a victim class here because there's no evidence that he threw a game.
Right.
Okay. So we don't have to worry about that part of it.
Well, and here's the deal, too, which really, really ticks me off. Okay. These sanctimonious people that want to get this guy for gambling are the same people that are taking millions and millions of dollars from the gambling industry.
Right.
That's what really
I want to get to that too here. But for instance, the famous scandal involving the New England Patriots where they deflated the balls.
Right.
They were used to playing with a flat ball, but the other side wasn't.
Right.
Okay. There is a victim in that.
Well, no, not really. Here's why. See, every time the play switches,
I understand.
That team gets to bring their balls.
I understand that. But if the rules are we play the game with these balls set to this inflation and everything.
Oh, I see. Now I got you.
And what I'm saying is the team that lost because they didn't know the other side was not following the rules.
Right.
They are a victim.
Right.
Okay. There is a harm that needs to be made whole.
But here's my other thing on that. If the balls are deflated, the defensive back should be able to intercept more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
anyway, I'll take my example, Brett Favre, that short stint he had with the Vikings, and they're at the NFC Championship game in New Orleans. Not knowing New Orleans coach put out hit money. You take him out of the game and we'll pay you cash. Okay, that's felony battery.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that guy now is what? He's the coach of Denver.
Yeah. So now what we did, because Favre even with a broken foot, stayed in the game and almost won the game. The Vikings, I believe that year would have finally got their Super Bowl ring. Finally. Fifth time's a charm, right? And what they did do was strip the New Orleans Saints of their Super Bowl. But was the Vikings team made whole? No.
No.
So, if you've got a victim The victim needs to be made whole at the expense of the perpetrator. So we're getting back now to this gambling thing.
We have a victimless crime here.
Because we don't have a victim, that makes it a little easier to extend grace. Because you extend grace and there's a victim, you're actually further harming the victimhood. So I think it's a little bit easier here to say he didn't throw a game. He was still putting out his best, and that it would have been a worse crime if he'd thrown a game. What I do think you and I on the phone talked about basically, should the rule be changed to allow it? And I'm saying you shouldn't allow voting for or against your team from the standpoint of insider information.
Right. In other words, yeah, has he been throwing games? Because then you've got a real issue there. But again, they need to punish the player, not the team.
Yeah,
all these people are saying, "Oh, you can't play Texas Tech because they've got this guy." They want Texas Tech to do the job.
I got it. The punishment: you don't get your NIL money. The school keeps it.
Whoa.
Boom! Cody will be happy with that. You play for free. For a college education like we used to. Like
and
when Eddie played at Texas
and hopefully a professional deal at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Which is what they used to play for anyway.
I think I stumbled on one.
You may have.
But here's the thing. You and I did talk about why did this rule exist? And yes, there's the whole throwing games, the whole Black Sox scenario. But Eddie, there also is this other thing about you're making transactions based on information you have that other people don't. That's in Wall Street. That's called insider trading.
Or congressional trading.
Yeah, exactly. and so you got to look at that factor as well, as that's part of the reason for the rule.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not against the rule. I just think the rule should be based on throwing a game.
Yeah,
that's where that's what really ticks me off because the college sports in general is so based now on gambling.
Yeah,
there's so much money just simply because of the gambling.
Let's follow that. It started out with the TV deals. And then when I think it was the Supreme Court or somebody ruling, you can't stop sports gambling or online gambling, things like that. Now, all of a sudden, every state is Nevada, right?
Yeah. And I can't watch a game without FanDuel.
See, now that happened because we legalized it. Now there's money to be made. And most of that money that ESPN is paying out to the SEC and other schools is coming from gambling ad revenue.
Right.
And so it does look hypocritical that we're all getting rich on gambling, but we can't have the athletes.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a real problem. And listen, gambling addiction's much more serious than you're aware of, and largely because even your local TV, radio, and newspaper won't report on it because they're on the take for the ad revenue.
Now you're singing my song. Now we've switched places or gotten on the same side again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tough situation. It's a crazy situation. My bottom line is this, though. All these people that want to attack Texas Tech, hypocrites. I'll just call them hypocrites.
Yeah, and the thing is, Texas Tech sadly has the most to lose, and rightfully they shouldn't lose anything.
Yeah, they haven't done anything.
Yeah, I think maybe forfeiture of NIL money would be a good resolution of it.
I think across the board. Or are you talking about just for Tech? No, or just for him.
For that athlete.
For that athlete, yeah, that's great. And then we can see how serious he is about the game and all that. Yeah.
Because, Texas Tech's had to lay out a lot of money and gone through a lot of stuff. Now,
but here's the other side of the NIL argument, okay? Mm-hmm. With NIL money, they no longer have to give scholarships.
Really?
Yeah. Why would you need to?
Wait a minute. There's all kinds of rules. You have to have a certain grade point average. You have to be enrolled in classes. You have to be doing all this stuff. Did they get rid of all that?
I don't know, but if I were college and I got the guy making $2 million a year, why would I not take that scholarship money and give it to some scholastic person over here. That's what it should be. So it'll be something for us. Let's look into it. Let's look into it.
Yeah, Division I sports is self-funded easily.
Right, but
especially if they have a good football program.
Right, yeah. But what I'm saying is they could then take that money and get it transferred over to the scholastic portion, and just think of how many more scientists and doctors and nurses and things we could.
No, I get all that. I'm just trying to think. Well,
let's look into it. Let's we will report.
You have to be a student there. Period. You have to be a student.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, it's just not even a college team.
I guarantee you there's a bunch of the students now that aren't even students anymore, or the athletes. They're not getting their degrees.
Well, in the 70s and in the 80s and 90s, they really started cracking down on it. I mean, there's a lot of people.
I would bet you that half of the athletes aren't attending classes towards their degree, or they get some Mickey Mouse degree or something.
It kind of goes up and down.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's created problems. And like I said, I go back to the whole Tim Gill thing, that one day students are going to be set free. They're going to be able to go wherever they want. I didn't count on the financial part, though. I didn't think that wasn't in my equation. It was just that you could no longer hold a student hostage for 4 years once they signed that.
Now, Donald Trump did sign an executive order, and here's what it did. How does the president is the they only get to transfer once in their years.
That's new, yeah. Because you had guys look at the same guy we're talking about, Sorsby. Starts in Indiana, ends up in Cincinnati, ends up at Texas Tech. Yeah. Brandon Sorsby. Hey, guys. Hey, thank you so much for please go back and review the first hour and with Bob Sullivan. It's very important. Along all election, I had a sample ballot on my, and I couldn't find it. I wanted to go over them.
There's something else I got to talk about.
Okay, one more thing.
So tomorrow night, it's big fight night at the White House.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not Hillary throwing lamps at Bill. But so
UFC.
Yeah, Paramount Plus has evidently exclusives on the TV rights. I signed up months ago for Walmart Plus, which is like Amazon Prime. And part of that deal on your annual subscription is you can either have free Peacock or Paramount Plus.
And what did you choose?
I went Paramount Plus. Yeah. Actually, I did Peacock during the Olympics, and now I switched back over for this.
Oh, okay.
And so that's going to be a big thing.
Oh, yeah. One more thing. U.S. soccer beat Peru
Paraguay.
I'm sorry, Paraguay. One of them P words.
Yeah.
They beat them 4-1 last night. Anyway, the first half, did you watch the game? Mm-mm. First half, America played like you would have thought they were Brazil. I mean, it was that beautiful to play.
Wow.
But they took, what's his name out there? Their star, I can't think of his name right now. He's the left winger, and he was involved. He didn't score the goals, but he was involved in probably 3 of the 4 goals. But they took him out, and all of a sudden it was like, we're back to, USA soccer.
Is he healthy?
Oh, yeah.
Why did they take him out?
I don't know. No, everybody was wondering. The announcers were really, they said, well, we've talked to him on site. He gave us the thumbs up. He's good. He's not injured or anything. So maybe they're just resting him.
Yeah.
Because of the score,
Good point. You don't want somebody injuring them just to knock him.
Right, exactly.
You don't know what some foreign player might be getting paid to do.
Yeah, exactly. Paraguay was getting really upset with it because I don't think they've ever seen America play like this. The new coach is, I think he's from either Argentina or Venezuela, one of those two, but he's good. But he looks like he's so different. You can see that he's used to winning. He stands on sideline. He's cool, calm, But yeah, US A1, and all kinds of stars and celebrity. Oh, Marco Rubio was at the game.
Okay.
Yeah, Marco was there, and but a bunch of different stars and so forth. But anyway, USA won their first game, and we'll see how they do going down the pike.
People were thinking there might be a signing of a treaty with Iran tomorrow.
Oh.
And in Europe.
Yeah, people, the media hates Trump so much. They're just betting against it. They're hoping against it. They're trying to get involved and second guess everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
So if he does, I'll tell you what, it's going to shut a whole lot of mouths. It's going to turn a whole lot of things
Here
around.
we go. A statement from Trump just came out. He starts out going after Obama. He says, Barack Hussein Obama's deal with Iran, the JCPOA, was an easy, beautiful, smooth road to a nuclear weapon, which Iran would have had 6 years ago and would have used long before now. My agreement with Iran is the exact opposite. A wall to no nuclear weapon. In fact, they no longer want a nuclear weapon, nor will they have one, either through purchase, development, or any other form of procurement. The deal is scheduled to get signed tomorrow, and immediately after it signs, the Hormuz Strait is open to all. Our relationship with Iran is in a much different and better place, one, than previous administrations have had. Unlike Obama's hundreds of billions of dollars in payments to them, including $1.7 billion in gold, cold cash, no money will exchange hands. At the appropriate time, when all is calm, we will go in and get the nuclear dust buried deep under the powerful sunken granite mountains, thanks to our beautiful B-2 bombers. And you can hear Trump saying this. Yeah. Yeah, they're brilliant pilots and downblend, and they'll destroy it. Whether in Iran or the United States, we'll look forward to working with Iran and the entire Middle East long into the future. Hopefully this process will all work out quickly and easily and smoothly. If it doesn't, we will have the ultimate alternative, hopefully never to be used again.
Wow. You know what's interesting? One of the things I think may have helped bring this along, as crazy as it may seem, apparently the Ayatollahs' kids were living in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about hypocrisy. They've got these people living over there, the women in subjugation, and here's these Ayatollah's kids over here living like, the Kardashians or something,
Yeah.
So, wow, that's it. Well, we'll see. Let's keep praying for that end. And Tuesday, be sure to get up early, vote early and often. So just get out there.
Take your campaign signs out of your front yard, 7 a.m, bring them down 300 feet away from the door to the voting place and make them work to their ultimate amount. Plus, it allows campaigns to pick up all the yard signs for the next campaign.
Good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, God bless everybody. And again, thank you to Bob Sullivan for coming in today.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week, Lord willing, and the creek don't dry.
All right. Have a good day.